You gonna give us a little announcer style introductions, Yoji?
I can do that. What is going on, guys? It's Yoji. Welcome to Baeclast episode 2 with Taki Cat, General Joe Chicken, the band Q Dog of Baeclast. We got Rise, the Polish RaizQT, ZiggyD, the guy from the Down Under Rings, and me, Yoji, who does intros. That's basically it. We're gonna talk about drama and whatever else comes to mind and Legacy League. Memes. Lots of memes. That's that.
Right.
Yeah,
that was
welcome.
epic.
That was good. That was good.
Pretty good.
Okay, so just to get it out of the way. So, Cute Dog, you've been on Reddit a lot recently. What was that about?
I found a headhunter the other day. So, yeah, that was pretty nice. Like, pretty lucky. And it's just a great game. Like, ZiggyD has made this amazing game for us to play. And So, yeah, I got banned. What was it, like maybe a week ago? And the way I've been kind of describing it on my stream, because like it gets asked a lot, and basically imagine it like this: imagine that your friend wants to buy you a Ferrari as a gift, and you live in a place where you're not allowed to pay for gifts. Okay, so he gives you the Ferrari, and as a joke, you say, "Hey, here's a lucky penny to pay you back," and then like your neighbor sees this, calls the police, and the police show up. And they say, okay, you gave him a penny for a Ferrari, and then they execute you on the spot. That's basically what happened. I mean, and I was like, wait, why is everyone turning against me? I've done nothing. And I understand why, like, they need those rules. So they were right in the ban, but I emailed Chris and I asked, I was like, hey, would it be possible if I, get together some information and maybe present you with an appeal? And he said yes. So I sent him an appeal, and we got our perma ban reversed to a temporary ban. So
2 weeks, right?
Yeah, until April 2nd, our time, April 3rd, their time. It's pretty hefty. That's especially since if beta comes out, soon. 2 weeks is like most of the league, or at least like lots of the like
you're not getting the
juicy parts.
Yes, you're on the naughty list now.
There's no way.
You're on the naughty list, dude.
Also, if I was Chris Wilson, what I would do, like, because you're getting unbanned on like April 2nd, at April 1st, I would send you an email just as an April Fool's and be like, I'm sorry, we can't unban you. I would 100% do that. That would be the best.
No,
April
what you
Fool's
do
ever.
is you say, as like a stepping stone to unbanning you, we've removed your MTX. It's like you can keep your account, but we need to take back the supporter packs.
That'd be awful.
Yeah, we don't want your unethical support anymore, Mr. Banned person.
I mean,
Take your
like,
dirty money.
I have the second account that I've been playing on for the last since the ban, and I bought like a bunch of stash tabs. I bought the 2 tiger pets because they look awesome, and
Yeah, dude, that's pretty cool.
you can't stay away from the MTX guys. If this game didn't have MTX, half you guys wouldn't be playing. Come on. Have you seen the hubris and the hubris helmet and the ball regalia? Come on.
Yeah, it's this thing on the forehead. It looks super awesome, right?
Just don't play CI. Easy.
Yeah, I've been trying that. I've caved. I'm now playing CI. It's gotten that bad, so it feels bad.
Me too. I'm like,
Taki's
with this
playing
new
CI.
MOM, yes,
Yeah.
maybe with this new MOM I can do this. Nope. Just
I was
go
like,
CI.
okay, I could do this, and I was making a mine, and I was looking at trees between life, and I was like, yeah, this would work. I'd have about 4k life, about 3k mana. That's a pretty good defense. And I was like, I could change 10 points, I could have more damage, and I could have about 12, 13k energy shield. I think I'm gonna go for that one. I always get dual cast. Yeah, seems good. So yeah.
Yep.
Okay, well, now that the cute doge is out of the way, how are we all feeling about Legacy League now that the hype has kind of worn off now? How are people feeling about it? Because personally, I went into it going, this is amazing. Flashback has always been my favorite style event. And now I'm starting to get kind of fatigued with the constant micromanagement. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I agree. The here's how I thought about it. So you put in a league stone. You put in your league stones all at once, and let's say use a sextant. So you're at 5 and 3. So in 3 maps, you now have to refresh your sextant. After that, in 2 maps, you have to refresh all your league stones. In 1 map after that, your sextant your sextant has run out, so you gotta refresh that. And then it just keeps rolling over and over and over like that. And then, like, God forbid you you get a +2 charges, +3 charges, or you put in a leak stone that has 4 charges, then like 1 is missing,
Where's mod?
and you're just like, what? And like, what do you do? And I've even like considered, this might be retarded, but I've considered putting in 5 use leak stones, running them until 2 and 3, and then getting a stash tab full of 2 and 3 charge leak stones, just so in case I encounter a situation where I have an empty slot, I just go in there and put one of the 2 or 3 ones in there to
That's what I
sync it
do.
up. Like it's so annoying. That's what I think.
I actually do that. I don't. Yeah. There's no other way you can do it. It does get pretty annoying. But overall, the league itself, I mean, it's interesting. What's cool about it is when you really think about it, that they're supposed to launch like 3.0 later. So there's not going to be a league in between, but there's going to be something in between. And that something can't really be a flashback, because this is essentially what a flashback is. So there's definitely positives to this being kind of a filler league, that they have to do something new, like a Dark Shrine, which was
So
fun.
the advantage of this being a filler league is the next filler league will be more interesting.
Yes.
Cool.
Basically. I
That's
mean,
like, that's some positive thinking right there. I mean,
no, but like, how can you really get mad about this, right? Everybody liked the Breach. Hey, you can play Breach now. Like, you can't really get mad about it, but the
I mean-
micromanagement gets annoying.
yeah, that's kind of like my point. I mean, I don't have the micromanagement aspect yet because I just don't play enough for it to get annoying yet. But I kind of like that I can play the leagues that I like. I can just like sort out the stuff that I don't want to play, and I can just put in Breach. If I want to play Breach, I can. But if my build is still too shitty to play Breach, I don't have to, because I can just take it out if I realize, okay, beyond Breach is already too much, or still too much for my build right now. And that kind of makes it a little bit more fun. Also, I found out that you can find Navali monkeys that drop prophecies today, because it's
Yeah.
the first time I got that mod. That's super funny because of little monkeys. I like that they actually added some new stuff to the leagues as well while introducing them, and I revamped them a bit. I'm still excited about it, but it kind of feels a bit like the vanilla game at the moment. It's just that you have some influence on what mods you will encounter more often, but it kind of feels like last league basically.
And
I
Ziggy?
think they gotta force you.
I'd say that it's still probably the case where some of the white league stones are a bit uninteresting, and especially like, I don't know, I've been finding Tempest just not wanting to run, or Talisman not wanting to run, and like even just stuff like Essence and stuff. I'm like, I guess I better put these in because I don't have any Breach League stones or something like that. So it's just kind of like a bit of a drag running a lot of those.
White
And,
prophecies, man.
What's it? Oh, what? Yeah, a single silver coin. Oh my god, I didn't even mention the worst offender.
Prophecy.
Fucking single silver coin. I'm like, you get a single silver coin in my stones anyway. What the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the blue league stones probably not dropping enough for what I would. I think this is more of a. I don't. This part doesn't bother me too much. It's more about the white league stones for me, but I reckon that for most people's taste, the blue league stones aren't going to be happening often enough, and people will probably getting pretty sick of it around about now, I'd say, and we'll start packing up shop pretty soon. And I feel like I'm already starting to notice that in trade. So I don't know. Like, I came into this league thinking that like this has the potential to be like the best league, and I think it's pretty up there for me personally. But I think not a lot of people are going to remember this as like one of the best leagues because of these kind of like balancing issues between how much you're actually interacting with the most fun parts of the league. But I'll tell you what, when it does work, it really fucking works. It's so good. Oh my god, when you get a combination of 3 sexy Magic League stones and you run some of the craziest maps, man. And then when like you when you do put something stupid like a Tempest in, and then I'm playing Spark and I get an animating Tempest or some shit like that, or I get 20 Rogue Exiles in the map and I'm like, oh my god, I totally forgot this was a thing. This is awesome. Like,
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty bloody fun getting to like rediscover some of that stuff you've forgotten about. So
Yeah. I think it would be a lot better if it didn't have the annoying item level thing on it, because while leveling, it's frustrating because you pick them up faster than you can consume them because you like out level it, so half of your inventory is wasted. And I had a recent experience. One of my friends who only ever plays softcore, I convinced him to play hardcore this league, and we set up his Atlas to do Shape Strand. So we started doing Shape Strand together. It got like a bunch of strands, and we were really hyped to do duo content because we never drew a map before. And I'm like, all right, cool. We got some Breach Beyond, let's go, Nemesis. Enter the map, your beyond key is too low level. I was like, okay, drop this one on the floor, run a few maps. Next one, oh, this one is now too low level. And I think if they just removed like the drop rate of the white ones by like 50%, as Ziggy says, up to the blue drop rates, and then got rid of the annoying item gating while leveling, it would help a lot. But I think this league is going to be one of the leagues, like many, which suffers from the situation of really good potential and then doesn't get that final tuning. And if it ever does get the final tuning, it'll be like the typical GG fashion of like a week before the end. So unless this goes into the core game, this could be a lot of just like wasted potential. I don't know.
I think this is a pretty overt case of differing player expectations from GGG expectations, and that's the cause a lot of strain in this league, both with the League Stones and the Relics. So players expect this is like this is kind of what we've had this positioned as in our minds, is this like final hurrah to the game as it was, like this crazy fucking all these different like Relic legacy uniques, and then all the crazy league mods all jammed in together like some sort of crazy flashback event, right? But GGG is like, this is a balanced challenge league we're trying to make here. And that's not what players are expecting. We want something like fucking crazy before 3.0 comes out.
Yeah, more like Dark Shrine was like, this is not balanced at all, but nobody cares. Let's just have some fun until the beta. That's what people
I think
expected.
that's what people are expecting.
Yeah, I expected that for sure. I was like, okay, they're just gonna throw out some legacy uniques at us, and it's gonna be crazy. Because before they rebalanced like 100 uniques, all the legacy ones were mainly nerfed uniques, right? You could almost only get buffed stuff. But right before this league, they rebalanced like 100 uniques, and now you can get all the old versions of they just recently rebalanced uniques in the relics, which kind of evens stuff out. And I don't know, it feels balanced, which is in a all right way. It doesn't feel it's still fun, and the best points of the league are still really fun. But the worst points, like if you kind of are out of the good league stones, you're just playing a game with like all the annoying stuff, or like vanilla game, which doesn't really feel good. So the low points are pretty low and the high points are pretty high, and the average is kind of like still pretty all right. But people always will tend to remember the bad things a bit more because they are so annoying. So I also think people won't remember this league, especially after Breach, as such a good, like as one of the best leagues we had, although it's pretty good, I think.
How do you feel about the fact that even though this league does have its very fun moments, which I'll agree that it does, you need to have micromanagement to access the fun. It doesn't occur naturally.
Yeah.
So that's like one of my biggest issues. One of the reasons that I liked some of the older leagues was stuff would happen organically. Like you would walk into a zone and suddenly there would be this pack here. You never knew when it was going to happen. Whereas with this league, everything is set up. And I know why they've done this, because people complained about leagues being too oppressive in the past. So this way, as you said, you choose when you do the oppressive content. But because of that, you're in this situation where to have fun, you have to micromanage. So by being lazy or being tired or whatever, you miss out on the fun aspects of the league. And then when the RNG doesn't line up, like when you don't get keys dropping, you then feel like you're just playing standard. I don't know.
So
that is a pretty good point. We have a lot of micromanagement in PoE. I mean, you guys probably saw that VOD recently where my brain just broke because there's too many fucking menus in the game. Like, we have a lot of micromanagement in this game as is, and a lot of menus and stuff to interact with, and the setup time for each map is increasing, which on one hand I really like that, because I love that aspect of, like, especially when Path of Exile was slower, of like setting up and preparing for your encounters. But it does feel like that's getting a little long now, a little bit too bloated. What's going on in chat?
Nobody listening to Ziggy, everyone's chatting.
We're all listening, we're all listening.
I'm out of this podcast.
Whoops.
So, Cute Dog, is there anything you'd like to say?
No, let him.
I think I interrupted again. Oh god. Okay, it's okay. I'm only a guest on this podcast until I'm unbanned. Okay, so I think, you know, like Ziggy said, the important things are like you find a blue league stone, right? And you should be excited about that. But like, how many guys can relate when you see a blue league stone and you mouse over it? It's like +2, +3 charges, and you're like, fuck. Like, I either have to like wait or I have to micromanage this some more. And so, like, something that's supposed to be special shouldn't make you feel bad about it when it happens, right? And same with like, I mean, there's like the screenshot on the overlay with the 144 keys. You know, you imagine a new player, and I've been thinking a lot from the new player's perspective. You get this like ancient reliquary key. You know, most loop filters have this like amazing sound. It's like shing, You're like, oh my gosh. And then like you don't know, right? You don't know that it's just garbage. So you go and you put it in, and then you find out later that's like 50 something chaos or whatever. You're like, oh no. So I mean that's more like players' faults, but whatever. So yeah, I think that's a big detriment to it when things that are supposed to feel good don't, because like you like dread a certain action or like a thing you need to like do to use that thing.
I
When you
wonder if it
start
was a
off,
decision, like what Tarky talked about earlier. I wonder if it was really a decision from them, because that's what they did really well in Breach. That you didn't have to do breaches, but I mean it's right there. Like, why don't you just walk over it? And with this, it just feels like a real chore. But if they would maybe, I don't know, implement the breach-like things, but maybe with like random leak stone effects in the map, I feel like that would maybe make it a little bit more interesting. Because I think a lot of people just don't like. There were a lot of leagues that people just didn't like. For instance, Invasion. Like, I really loved Invasion. That's why I don't run it. But I know a lot of people that don't run Invasion because they really hated it, like prior to the balance and everything. And now if you just kind of tease them into it with that random invasion every now and then, maybe that's going to make them want to try more of these, right? Like, experiment with the game, put yourself out of the element. And it's right there, it's really accessible. Just makes it more fun.
how would you feel? And I just literally thought this on the spot. So this is probably a terrible idea. If there were like corrupted rare league stones and you didn't see anything, so it was like a mystery league stone. So you put it in,
but
and it'd be like random on activation. It would have like a special blue affix. It'd be like multiple hidden things or something.
Make it have like 20 charges.
Yeah, no, exactly. So it's like this thing which
Yeah.
has like loads and loads of charges, and you don't know what it is. So it's kind of like you explore the zone waiting to see what procs off it. Also, General, when you made your new account, how long was it until you got extra stash tabs? Like, did you play with 4 stash tabs for a while? What was that like with the mechanic?
I played for a few hours and I was like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing this. And so I bought the Divination Essence quad tab. Apparently, like the bundle deal you can't get anymore, which kind of sucks. But I bought those, and then I bought another quad tab because I use a dump tab for mapping. When you're like going fast, I just throw everything in there and clear it out when they both get full. And then I bought the 2 tigers like a day later when it came out, or a couple days later. So, but for the new player experience, you go in with 4 tabs. If you don't know anything, it might be okay, maybe. But
no, that's even worse. What do you mean? Like, when you're a new player, you keep like every single potion you find. You keep everything. I hoard everything. Like when I was watching Kangen play, oh my god, he was keeping just the worst trash ever. And you feel like eventually it's gonna be useful, even though it's never gonna be useful.
Yeah, or you just don't know what's useful, so you feel like, I can't really vendor this. Maybe this is good, and then you can just keep stacking up items. And 4 stash tabs is not a lot for those.
I feel like you have to be trained out of that though.
Yeah, that's what
4 tabs kind of helps you with that, because they're full, and you're like, okay, maybe I need to actually look over this stuff and see what's actually worth keeping and not. And then it forces you to reevaluate yourself.
That wasn't the case for me at all. When I started playing, it was the opposite. I'm like, I'm a Diablo, I played Diablo 3 at the time. I played Diablo 2. I'm like, this is just how people play. You make multiple accounts and you transfer all your shit constantly. And that's how I played for like 6 months or something. And then I bought the stash tab. I was like, yes, okay. I'm actually stupid.
It'll be nice though. Natural. Like ZiggyD has been known to, if you ask them, they can swap the MTX back to another account that you own. So it's not like you lost anything on it, if you get a second account.
I didn't know you could do that. Do they make you like prove that you own the accounts or something? Because
I'm sure I would like CC my other email, and then the one thing is they do delete your character. So my Pathfinder that I'm playing now, what will happen is they'll delete that and then move all the MTX. That's why like all the MTX armors that I bought on this new account, I made sure to buy the ones I didn't already have on the previous account, because they will just delete character, delete everything, and then transfer all your
Why
MTX
do they
over.
need to delete the character though?
I don't know. Maybe the technology isn't there yet.
I think they
don't
just don't like you. I don't
Challenges. Yeah, they don't like me though. You can't keep this. You can't keep this high level character.
It is pretty weird though. In every other game, you'd get like Cybrixed for ban evasion and stuff, but here it's like, Just do
Well,
what you
it's
care.
moving progress still, right? Like if the account's banned, you lose the achievements for the league. You have to do. Oh, here we go. This is the worst part. You have to do the trials again in 4
Oh,
difficulties. And when I remember that, I was like, just
This is
kill me now.
legit
Just
punishment.
shoot me in the head.
Every league, right? Like that rude awakening at the start of the league, you're like, oh my god, please no.
I think they purposely added something that we hated more than re-leveling our masters, so now masters don't feel that bad.
They also like made masters a little bit easier to level at the same time. So yeah, trials are for me the worst part currently
Yeah.
about
So bad.
the whole
I
game
mean,
basically.
I feel like that should be an account-wide thing, but then you're talking people getting an
my God.
advantage in new challenge leagues and stuff over new players. And
I think it
Try
should just
fucking
like seeing each trial once before the lab is enough for a tutorial. I don't need to
Yeah.
do the same thing in Merciless and Cruel. Like doing 5 trials and then just unlock lab, please. Like
and
be
try
done with it.
fucking doing
Maybe
Uber
Uber
trials
lab
is also
trials are
fun.
a thing. Okay, I can see them being a thing, so you can get the offerings. But just like 5 trials or whatever it is, and 6 trials in normal and 6 trials in maps, and that's it. Please be done.
I think since you only unlock Scion once, the trial argument's kind of null and void. Because if you're going to have the new player argument...
like Scion's an advantage.
No,
though.
right, but no, like, let's pretend that they didn't nerf the Berserker Leech and it was still, like, the go-to thing. Like, in a world where Scion is theoretically playable, if you only need to do Scion once to unlock it, surely Trials should be the exact same thing. Because it would be the same, like, new player advantage if it was or wasn't unlocked. Keep Uber blocked off if you want.
Means aside, that's a reasonable point.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think that's actually, like, a fairly straightforward point, which hopefully someone takes
Yeah,
attention
but
to,
I
'cause I
mean-
hate Trials.
What about Uber trials? Like that's a big deal. Like
Yeah,
it-
Uber
like,
trials you
you
can
have to
keep
wait,
as
like,
is because you need to
95
do the
levels,
keys
man.
anyway. But like from everything up to Uber, I feel like there's no reason for us to run that content constantly again.
It's maybe it's to stop bots from farming as fast. To get some speed with the lab with the what's it called, the ascendancy points. Maybe no, yes, no.
I don't know.
I don't know.
It seems like the kind of like argument that if someone said it to me, I can be like, I can't really question it, but at the same time, I doubt they like that's not something you would plan and you made the system. Like
Pretty
they-
sure players level the accounts up to dried lake and then
Yeah.
the bots take
I mean,
over.
if anything, the trials make me want to program a bot that runs the trials
Yeah,
for me.
okay, guys. I was just asking the questions just to throw Gigi off the scent of my
Okay.
Somebody's mind is blown right now.
All right. Just to get it out of the way then, before we go back into like the terms of service stuff. So Q still gets hyped about the relic keys dropping, and I know that Ziggy, you tried to farm them. Like, how did that go when you like made your dedicated relic farmer character?
So I watched, it was ETUB, right? Bought like 500 of them, 140 or something. And I was really excited for the price drop once people realized how garbage they were at the current price. Because they were like 35C or something and 3540C, and you bought a bunch, and then the price dropped like 5C for a couple minutes, and then it went back up to where it was. So last time I checked, the price is still the same, man. So at that price, it's really hard to justify buying a bunch of them. I'm probably still going to do it anyway, but at this price, it's like at the end of the league when you just don't care about life anymore. That's probably when I'm going to buy a bunch now. But yeah, the original plan was going to be to farm up and buy a bunch of them, but it's just become all too clear how skewed the like the market pricing is for them compared to the expected return. Like, I'm not looking to break even on relic keys, but geez, that's like something else, man. We're talking like you're lucky to make a 50 of money back kind of pricing.
Yeah, it's just I don't even really understand how they are so expensive, to be honest. Because I guess it's just like this whole lottery ticket type thing, where it's like the promise of the super sick loot is there, and that's kind of like why the price is a bit inflated. But
Yeah.
Well, like the
It
drop
just
rate
doesn't really
seems
make
to be
sense.
like roughly the same as Exalts, and they seem to just be like, from what I've personally, well, I've had 3 Exalts in one key this league. I know that it's anecdotal. It always seems iffy, but it seems like kind of similar-ish. So how much they
Yeah,
cost in
I've told a
softcore?
bunch of people it seems like it's about the same as Exalts, from like overall. But obviously, and again, sample size.
Like yeah, Yoji or Cute Dog. How much are they in softcore? Do you know?
It's 50 something.
yeah,
And they're like
something.
50 in
50s.
hardcore as well, right?
I think they're like 40 in hardcore at the moment. I haven't checked in a little while.
Yeah, but
Okay.
aren't exalted orbs like 100 chaos or something right now?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
In
Exalt drops
standard,
are like
in standard they are.
in softcore.
In
as well,
software, it's 86. Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty close.
Hmm. That sort of makes sense.
If it's the same drop rate, I guess it kind of makes sense.
The big issue is anyone can go. You can search for mirrors on PoE Trade in your respective league, and then search for things like Legacy Vinctars and Combs Heart. And so people are really going after those chase things, right? They want their Vinctars, they want their Combs. But if it's rarer than a mirror, it's like, Jesus Christ, you're not gonna get it, right? Like overall, you yourself are not gonna get it. Maybe so it's really not worth it. But every few days or so, you see like the Reddit post where it's like, here's the results of opening X number of reliquary keys. So even like maybe those individual people that are making those Reddit posts, if they're trying to buy 100+ keys, that's going to drive the price up pretty quickly. With the rarity of the keys.
No, I guess like no one ever like spam buys consistently like hundreds of exalts at a time. Like there's one guy in my stream who's like addicted to doing it. So like every day he's like, I've got 20 keys. Do you want to record me opening 20 keys? So if you've got like just 3 or 4 people doing that on bulk on like every other day, then I guess that's always going to keep the prices skewed. How relevant did you think that'd be? Because going into this league, I wasn't that expectant of them dropping. I thought it'd be maybe like 1 a week, and it seems to sort of be where it's at. It seems like a lot of players went into this league though expecting, I'm gonna get my keys, I'm gonna get my items. Like, where did you think there would be? Is this case of like again GGG versus player expectation being way off, or is it just a bad system?
I don't know. Like from a casual perspective, I can tell you that they are not really part of my experience so far. I found 1 key, I got a count sign, and like all the other weeks I play maybe like 8 hours, 10 hours a week currently. I've not found a single key. I'm level 78 or something like right now. And if I ever find one, I'm gonna sell it because 55 chaos or whatever they are, 50 chaos is probably going to get me a lot more than another count sign. And I don't know. I don't think it's really worth it. I think it's more for like the dedicated farmer and people who play a lot who can actually be like, okay, I'm gonna buy 20 keys and see what happens just for the lulz. But it's for the average player. It's either they open it, are most likely going to get disappointed, or they will, sell it as a cute dog said, and be disappointed when they see what they could have gotten instead.
That's like the most disappointing part about the current pricing for me is just that it's like so much better just to sell them, and that's disappointing, man. I want to open them, even if I want it to be so that even if I just get some crappy foil, I'm like, yay, cool, collectible, it's shiny, I like it. Because I'm all about that, man. I love me foil magic cards, and I wanted to love me foil uniques, but it's a bit hard to at that because it's like it's pretty hard to silence the part of your mind that's just like, yeah, you just spent 45 chaos on this 1 hour relic unique.
Do you think maybe they should have made them not tradable?
I'm like pretty against them taking that approach to anything in Path of Exile, really. Yeah, I mean it's a solution to problems like this, but
I think that would actually make it worse.
Is maybe just playing with drop rates.
Yeah, with drop rates and
but
unique drop rates as well.
If you couldn't trade them, like you'd be in a situation of now if you get one and you have low expectation, at least you can sell it. Whereas if you constantly getting them dropping and it's always like a 1-out item, won't that just make it even more bitter?
Is it a bad thing though? Like, are these things being in the game a bad thing? Do you think they could be like a permanent thing?
I would kind of like them as with the current drop rates. If they're not going to like improve it at all, I think it's a waste of a system if they don't do anything. So I'd probably just add them as core game. I don't know.
Yeah, with a different set of relics every time.
Yeah, rotating like awesome old school like league items. So it's one of those things of like you have that 1 or 2 item that you could have this league, and if they kept it to old stuff, then you always have that cycle of, I can play with X item at some point. I don't know.
What about more like the race reward approach where you have this one shot to get these alternate art items from this league, and then you'll never see them again? I would love it if each new challenge league, some of the uniques from that league. Is this what you were saying? Like where the uniques from that new league, you have a set of those as relics available as relics from the reliquary. That'd be cool because then you're like, I want to get those before this league ends because this will be the last chance to get them. That's cool. I would be about that.
Or maybe they just the most recently nerfed items will also be put in the pot. So basically from the last patch. So if they nerf next patch, they nerf, I don't know, whatever is OP right now, and they I have no idea about the current meta. I'm just playing my own bullshit. And So basically, whatever they nerf, like let's say they nerf Voltaxic again because that's going to get nerfed anyways all the time, and we can suddenly get Voltaxic for the next league. So it's basically it's just like one league where you can get the old stuff after it's going to be permanently removed. That could be kind of a thing.
It's a form of a fix for the people who complain that their builds become unplayable. This is
You
kind
get
of
like a phasing out period sort of thing.
Yeah, you get like a grace period where you can still chase the item, but it's a lot more difficult to get. But it's still possible to make the build again if you really, really want to and want to spend a lot of currency on it.
Yeah, I kind of like that actually, because I don't know if you guys do this. Like, you have this list of builds that you want to try at some point, and there's like those one two builds you've always wanted to try, but you never get round to it. And then the patch notes announcing the nerf happen before you play it, you're like, oh, well, rip that idea.
Yeah.
Whereas at least with this system, when that patch note hits, you're like, okay, I've got to, like, if I want to play that, I have the chance next league, but I've got to really grind out the currency. Actually, I kind of like that. I think it'd be pretty cool.
I mean, I want to play a lot of AoE skills, but now it's impossible.
Yeah. Projectiles. Still play projectiles.
Just gotta play projectiles now.
Also in standard, they have to have like statistics on like the player drop off, right? So when the OG relics that we have, when they get like cycled out because someone just doesn't log in anymore, they can probably take that into account when balancing like the drop rate when you open that relic chest in the standard league if they make this core game.
Yeah,
they could. They could definitely use this to make standard a little bit less unappealing for new players coming in, because now if you start playing standard, you know there are people who have like hoarded all the eternal orbs and whatever, and it kind of feels like at least you have a chance to get the items now, even if you start playing now without just grinding currency and buying them. Could be a thing that's appealing to people, but it's a very, very niche issue, I feel, because standard is not the main part of the game.
How likely do you think, like, given past history, do we think GGG are going to make any changes, or just this the system we have now? Is it just like, oh, well, accept it?
they're not going to change it.
What makes
I
you
don't
say
think
that?
so.
Too busy with
Really?
6.0.
No, yeah, they're really busy with other stuff, and does it really like need a change? It's the same reason why they didn't really mess around with Dark Shrines. I feel like it's just there and it's there to be used.
Okay.
Do you talking about League Stones or Relics?
Kind of both.
Kind of both, yeah. No, League Stones, I think if they would go through, I think they would change the charges somehow. Like maybe make a League Stone tab MTX and make them like stack when they're the same suffixes or something, or affixes.
Or maybe
Even just
let
the
us
white ones.
queue up League Stones or something, so you can just like, instead of putting one each, you can put on like 5, and they will
there
get
you
used
go.
up one by one by one by one by one.
Yes. We need the Plinko thing going on. Dropping
So
down.
So you only have to do it. You still use up like the same amount of League Stones per map, but you only have to do it like every 20 maps instead of every 5 maps.
Well, that's so much better. I need
Yeah.
to think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone hire me, please, at GGG. Thanks.
At least make them the charge is like a multiple of the sextants, right? So you're not constantly just like out of sync.
Hopefully
Six
that's one
charges.
thing they take. Like, if they do this again, they at least like line up all of their charges so it's like the same multiples of 5, like you said. What would be cool though, if there was like a way that you could just do the same stones over and over again without it ever running out? Like, wouldn't that be like a really cool feature if there was just like, I don't know, like this endless like grind where you can just leave the area as you put it into the map device, and then you always have your League Stones active? Kind of like that.
I think that's
exploit.
what some people wanted. I think that's what some people wanted.
Well, that's
out of this
basically
league
what
as
the
well.
exploit was, which everyone was using.
Yes.
That was exactly
Yeah.
what the thing was.
Because it basically fixes the league.
Yeah. And what do you guys think about that? 'Cause
Yes.
Reddit
I
really
need the
freaked out
perma
about
chalupa.
Yeah, archives in the T16s and stuff. It's crazy. Like overall,
So-
here's.
Go ahead,
Go ahead.
yeah.
All right, I'll go.
You go ahead, punk.
Sure. So yeah. Anyways, what I've been thinking is, the items that people are chasing after, it's not a zero-sum game, right? Like, people don't value the same items the same. They don't weight them the same. Whereas, like, if you're racing to 100, everyone in that race actually values that level 100 spot, the first spot, equally, right? And so someone else getting it actually diminishes your amount of fun, right? You're actually like, oh, well, then maybe the league's over for me. But if you play softcore, even like hardcore, like just casually, you're going to be able to afford the Skyforce. You're going to be able to afford the Headhunter. They're always being introduced. So like someone else doing this exploit and getting, let's say, like 100 mirrors, it actually doesn't affect your ability to play just as you were, right? It really doesn't. Like, so I don't think it's that big a deal. And if Chris's, and then there's some contention about Chris's post where people are like, is he telling the truth that only X amount of people were making this, were going crazy with this exploit? If that's true, then if we take him at his word, then it's really not a big deal.
I don't think it's true.
I know at least one person who exploited pretty heavily and is not banned. That's all I'm going to say.
Same here. I know a couple people that did that.
Yeah.
I think I don't think it's Chris personally. I think it's somebody going to Chris and being like, listen, not that many people did it. And he's like, well, how many people did it? He's like, not that many. Don't worry about it. And Chris is like, okay, that's what I'm gonna tell people. And he just tells people. I don't think he's like trying to make it not a big deal, but somebody definitely told him that it wasn't a big deal when I think it was a bigger deal than most people think.
I think it's like a follow-on from Cute Dog's point as well, is that I think it does have like bigger follow-on effects that does affect that average casual player as well, because if that person who maybe doesn't get banned, which I was hoping that most of them had been banned, but apparently not, then decides to turn around and take that 100 mirrors and use it to like manipulate a particular part of the economy, then that sort of thing can have follow-on effects for players. Like, hey, I'm going to buy up all of these build enabling uniques and relist them up for 10 chaos higher, you know, just because fuck it, why not? It's fun. It's fun having that much control over the economy.
No, I'm saying like there definitely should have been bans, and like it's a big deal. I'm just saying for like for most of us, our play style wouldn't have changed, right? Like, and for a new player especially, I was thinking, you know, nowadays a new player finds an exalt and they're able to trade that exalt in for 86 chaos, where before maybe it'd be like 60, 70, you know? So that's, for a lot of players, that's a starter build, like a complete starter build that they can buy now. So I think it's, you know, if the shoot up in exalts is you know, related to the exploits going on, you know, you could say that we're getting more retention from the players that we need to get the retention from because of the, you know, the exalt prices.
I think it's kind of fair to say that, like, obviously, and also just to clarify, because some people are confused, at the start of the league, I don't know exactly when this happened. I only learned about it after the like hotfix and the bans went out on Reddit. Basically, what you could do is you could load up a map with activated league zones. As the map, like the device was powering up, if you left the zone, the map would activate and your charges wouldn't be used up. So basically, people could infinitely farm certain things. So like there will be Chael splinters the next zone for anyone wondering. But I think where people kind of got upset with it, and I think this is kind of what So is saying, I do agree with them, is a lot of people weren't outraged or upset about the change until after it already happened. So for me personally, I wasn't affected by some other dude doing it, right? I am a completely average player. Some people say worse than average. I play up to a certain point, and then I'll re-roll even. Now, I did notice that some of the Chayula jewels were cheaper than usual, and if anything, that helped me, because then I had access to items earlier in the league than normally I would have. So I think from the average kind of level, nothing really got screwed up too heavily that I'm aware of, but yes, behind the scenes there might have been these terrible implications, and if people are getting away from ban evasion, then maybe it sets a precedent of every time a new league comes up, people might feel like they may as well go for it because they might not get banned. I don't know.
Yep. But that's the weird thing. I was so surprised that people got banned for this.
Yeah,
like it actually blew my mind, because every time in the past, whenever there was an exploit or something like bad, like even when people were botting in the past and using Exile HUD and all that, GG was like, you better stop. If you don't stop, we're gonna ban you. And then the majority of them would stop and everything would be okay. Like obviously they ban people behind the scenes, but like when big things happen, they were more of, okay, you found this exploit, we didn't fix it fast enough, this is on us, continue to play the game. We're here. I mean, I knew about this, some guy messaged me on stream like a week before the fix or something, and I read it out on stream and people heard it and everything, and I just went, oh, I'm solo self, I don't give a shit. And maybe that wasn't the appropriate response to that, but it didn't really affect me in any way. And as you guys are saying too, it didn't really affect the economy. Maybe it did, like we didn't really notice it, right? But it couldn't have been that big of a deal compared to like some of the other exploits from the past. So I'm really surprised that they actually I would have totally used it if
Yeah.
if I was aware, because I would have been like they're never gonna ban me for this, so why don't I just do it like everybody else?
That's my point as well, because I've used some stuff in the past, and people have. For example, last league I streamed like tons of streams where I even had Bug using my title, where I was playing Blade Vortex with the bug where they can 8-9 link it. That was apparently fine bug to use, while other exploits are not fine to use. Or what was it? The whole snapshotting thing where you respec half your character whenever you logged in or whatever you could do, and like swapped out your stuff. That was clever use of game mechanics. It was accepted. It was fine. Why is that fine, and why is using leak stones not fine? Because it's economic advantage. Clearing faster with Blade Vortex is also an economic advantage. I don't really see the difference that much, to be honest. Like it's weird where they draw the line. I find it hard to see where a clever use of game mechanics stops sometimes and where bug using starts. I know that crashing servers to reroll items was bannable, and I can totally see why, because crashing servers is kind of like taking a next step where it actually harms what other people do, and like crashing around or whatever definitely is not beneficial to everyone else. But there's some sort of things that you can that are in a gray area, and for me this wouldn't have been clear that I would get banned for this if I did this.
People bring it up because it was like a form of duping, and I think duping has been like punished a lot in the past, but I don't know. It's still
that's kind of what I was thinking. I was like, I wasn't very surprised about this because it seems to interact with like the instancing system, like changing zones and stuff like that, which is what they've always banned for that sort of thing in the past. And this seemed like another form of that, though maybe stretching a little bit.
Maybe it didn't crash any
definition a little bit. Yeah, it didn't crash any interest, but using like loading zones during something to effectively dupe,
But then the Val area farming was also using that. You'd make new zones all the time and see the loading spikes.
Yeah, but that isn't like this. I can see why someone would say this is duping, because it is basically duping. You're making an item endless. It'd be like if there was a way that you could endlessly chaos a chest. That would obviously be like a very big deal. And I would say this is kind of the same thing. Now, personally, I kind of agree that if I was GG, I wouldn't have put bans out. I'm in this kind of weird thing. I haven't had it as much with PoE, maybe it's because I just approach PoE differently. But in D3, for example, there was like so much unhealthy behavior in D3. Whenever a new patch would come out, one of the most exciting things was finding like the new bug and or exploit of which chest run can I do. Like things of, oh, this chest will spawn next to this waypoint, so I can endlessly farm this chest at a certain difficulty. And it wasn't fun or enjoyable to do, but people would do that, and it'd be a case of, oh, now that people have caught on to it, I've probably got about 12 hours to do this before it gets removed. And I vividly remember streaming about 24 hours of me just chest flipping. And everyone would do that. And I think that in a weird way, there's kind of fun in bug hunting.
No.
But there's like a definite line between like endless chest flipping and then like and basically duping. So
But that's like such a big difference between the game. It's like in PoE something like that happens and the developer goes, well, this is unacceptable. In D3 they're like, well, this is our game now. Haha, guys, here you go. You're welcome. New patch. You farm chests for 3 months.
Let me ask you guys this. So I think there could be some debate on what ZiggyD considers to be like their main forum of communication. Like they have their actual official forums, which I haven't been there in a long time. And then there's Reddit, right? And so if the Reddit post that the guy made did not come out, right? Because the actual bug report was there before. If the Reddit post did not come out, would there be bans, do you think?
Dude, that was the best part about that entire thing. The fucking the guy who made the Reddit the post on the forums, He reported the bug and everything, and then you look through the list of that, and he's like, I would never fucking unethically, because somebody was like, dude, you've totally been using this. He's like, I would never unethically use this. Like, how dare you? Maybe if you would play as good as me, then you would get all these things, but you fucking post on Reddit. And then he's fucking banned, dude. Boom. That was the best thing ever. This guy made like a huge post defending himself, and he still got fucking banned, man. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I think you actually made a clip about that. You were like, there was a Russian guy, right?
No, that's the other guy.
Oh, that was a different guy. Okay.
This is the German guy. I have 2,000 confirmed kills, man. What did you say to me, you little bitch? That was the German guy.
Everyone's copy paste spamming his comment.
That's what he posted, man. It blew my mind.
It is like our version of Navy SEALs, basically, now.
Wait, sorry, what was your question, General?
He was saying, do you think the bans would have gone out if the Reddit thread hadn't been made?
Probably, yeah. I think it's because of the duping thing, right? I think ZiggyD just sees it as duping. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, it could be. But I would have preferred for them to give like a warning or something. Like you said, like, hey, stop this or we'll ban you, and then the people who don't stop get banned, and that's cool. Because I find these gray areas sometimes weird. I wouldn't like, now that you tell me that it might be seen as duping, I can see why, but I wouldn't have thought so myself. I would just be like, whatever, let's try this.
I mean, they clearly didn't ban everyone, so
yeah, only did, like,
maybe they didn't really have like a really good way of tracking this. And I mean, even like a couple people doing this like 5 times, it has a pretty big impact on the economy.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing also. If the Reddit post didn't come out and ZiggyD didn't ban anybody, people would see a lot of their friends list like disappear, and they talk to those people and be like, hey, I see you play every day. Now you don't. And that person tells everyone, and then like a Reddit post comes out that like, that this bug that was available for 2 weeks or something was just like not addressed in any patch notes. Would that be more harmful to like their reputation, or is this the better option where like someone did make a Reddit post and then they're able to give their thoughts. Chris is able to give his thoughts to the community on Reddit, which is like where we all check for like news and stuff, right? So now we're like, at least we're getting a response from the lead developer.
I think it's better that he communicates, just because one of the reasons why GGG's gotten to the point where it is how much people respect getting the feedback, whether they agree with it or not. People appreciate having that feedback there, which you don't have from a lot of other companies. And I think the most telling part of this is when Chris did his like follow-up Reddit thread that he posted himself, the main thing he put in there that everyone took away from it was like he was disappointed in the community's reaction. And it was one of those things like people were saying it was like being scolded by their dad or something. So when you have like people's community reaction when a developer says, oh, we've done a ban wave, but I didn't like the way you reacted, and they're like, Father, please no, forgive me, then I think it shows that clearly it's working for them, right? Like, that's an extreme level of power that very few developers have. So I think they're doing okay with the current methods.
Did you read some of the comments in that thread though? People were like, I'm never playing this game again. You would expect like Chris like murdered their mothers or something, based on like the salt that was in that thread. It was ridiculous.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if you go on my YouTube videos, I'm used to like really salty, stupid comments of like, this is game world ending, blah, blah, blah. You died to a strong box. Everything is dead. So when it comes to like someone quitting a game over some like exploit, I kind of just go, it's the internet. So I kind of just brush that under the link.
I mean, over an exploit, I can see by people, if you get banned for this, that people would quit because they like, okay, my account's done forever. Might as well move on. But just because someone else exploited, I mean, at worst, this will affect you like for this league. And not even that much, because the most important races were kind of like already done at that point, as far as I know, like almost done. Like the races were already decided to the 100 and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't really all that like important, I feel. Like it didn't affect people all that much. Yes, like the economy of course shifts, and maybe you couldn't sell league stones as well because nobody needed to buy them at that point. But I don't think it was that horrible.
I mean, if we disclude talking about like huge amounts of RMT that somebody did that probably didn't happen or was countered like behind the scenes. I mean, even if it did affect the economy, like, is it a big deal? Like, items were cheaper for a little bit, or items were more expensive for a little bit. Like, nobody can really figure out if it had a negative or a positive impact. It had an impact. It is pretty funny though that like everybody on Reddit was just like this hysterical teenager, and Chris comes in with a slap, and you're just like, whoa, okay, I get it now. Sorry, Dad. It was pretty good.
I think, like, whatever you think of it, I am glad that it happened now, though, and it didn't, like, happen at 3.0. Because that would have been really bad if, like, we suddenly get 3.0, and then there's this level of, like, exploit, and it all just gets sullied behind this, like, pointless drama. So, yeah. But with that, I personally haven't really had much experience with it, but what do you guys think about the new Zana mods? Because with all the League Stones and how they've implemented anything, is adding spiders worth it? Like, I don't know. What's that about?
Here's what I think. I think most of the Zana mods are complete garbage because let's say 2 to 3 chaos on average, you can buy an Onslaught League Stone for 5 uses for 2 chaos. So it's already, I think the mods that you're talking about are like 15 to 18%, and it's 1 use. So like, why would I ever do that when I could just get the Onslaught thing and and it's like, what is it, 5 times cheaper? So I think there's such garbage. The only one I'm gonna use is like later on in the league when I have enough like shaped cemeteries or whatever, because it's like 3 bosses. I might use double boss mod at level 8 Zana, because then you could just it's just fun, right? But any of the other ones, if you're looking for efficiency, it's like complete garbage.
Yeah. There's also a sextet, I think, that bosses drop uniques or something like this, so you could use that for it. Yeah. There's some uses for that, but other than that, I don't really know. On paper, at least, I didn't try them because they cost chaos, and I don't have that many chaos. But on paper, they seem just not really worth it.
I just like this whole Zana thing is just bamboozling to me, man. Like I don't even understand how it possibly arrived at what it is. Like, how do we go from what it was to what it is now? Like,
last minute, I think they were just like. That's why the patch was delayed or something, because it was just last minute. Somebody's like, "Wait a minute, what about Zana?" And they're like 30 minutes before launch. Oh my god! What do we do?
Looking around like spiders,
dude.
blackguards.
Like the solution.
Then someone comes in. Okay, I got the idea. Okay, we got like Monster Life 1, and then Monster Life 2, and then wait for it. You got Monster Life 3 and 4.
This is like the guy who worked over at Diablo 3. He's like, this is the solution.
I want to know why we don't have slow 1, slow 2, and slow 3. Start with temp chains, add temp chains, chilled ground, add temp chains, chilled ground, tar ground. Like, why isn't that one of them? Like, I feel like that's kind of what would be about on par, maybe even a little better.
I think the thing which I find really funny about it is I've spent such a long time complaining about how vague this game is, and like, no, we're going to address all of Taki's complaints. We're going to have a really straightforward Zana system. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fixed. Like, they couldn't have at least come up with a cool name for it? Like, arachnophobia mod. Literally just saying add spiders. It's like, it seems so stupid. It's like someone's like, okay, so I kind of want something to eat, but I've got nothing in the cupboard. I've got some like water, got some spiders, Kellogg's level 3. Yeah, fuck it, that will work. Let's just put it in the bar. Like,
dude, what if we're not getting something? What if there's like something really sick about this, and GGG's like not telling anybody?
Those idiots, they don't understand the sound.
Yeah, they don't get it. Nick is sitting in the corner. They don't understand me. Fucking
they don't
Reddit.
get the 3 seashells, man.
Yeah. But honestly, I think Zana mods could be really good if they went a little bit creative with it. They could do something like, I don't know, map has like sextants have 50% more effect or whatever. Like, they could do like some crazy stuff with it and really try to think a bit more outside the box and try to do some new stuff now that maybe it's only for this league, but I can see them permanently using the current league as a way to add old league mechanics and kind of like remove Zana and like free up Zana for something new. But please don't make it spiders and Monster Life. There has to be something like this space could be used for something awesome, I feel.
Yeah, but what would it be then?
What if it was like add purple spiders? Would that be better?
Yeah, that would kind of like
Totally.
I think it would solve all the
There has
issues.
to be a
yeah.
reason why they made it 6 chaos, right? Maybe I'll like test it tonight. Run like 50 strand maps with spiders. What if there is something really sick? What if they have like
Goodbye, your
200%
money.
increased quantity? Maybe.
Enjoy farming spiders.
Maybe they're
I
like
mean,
frogs
I'll try
from
it.
prophecy or something. And
What
they drop,
can
like,
they
lots
do
of
with
views and
Zana
stuff.
though? Like what?
It
could
needs
they
to be
do?
something that you can combo. Like that's the thing that's interesting with Zana is when you're like, okay, if I got this League Stone and this Sexton mod, and I'm like, ooh, what if I incorporate this Zana into it to get that extra kind of juiciness? Because it's those combos are the most fun. But there's no combo potential in Monster Life. Like,
Yeah, I could maybe add some like expensive stuff that you can like force some crazy stuff on the mobs. Like I don't know, have all the unique mobs ghosted. Like steal some stuff from the prophecies, but in a controllable way that you can actually like, pay currency to just get it on this map because prophecies only proc randomly, right? Maybe they could do some stuff with it. As I said, like maybe increase sextant effect for that map. So if you roll a really good sextant, then you can just like amp it up.
Yeah, but like, what's not gonna? Because already, pretty much, if you have like a well-shaped atlas, I mean, you can sustain maps running them blue pretty much without having to do any Zana stuff. So, how do we get to the point where, it was fun in the past? I think whenever people would drop a high map or a map would drop in general, people would freak out. Map drop. Everybody would scream. Well, now it's just kind of another strand, no big deal. So like, what would be? I think a Zana that would make that exciting again, like drop multiple maps or something. But at the same time, sustaining maps is so easy that I just don't know. I miss that excitement of a map dropping again. And I as much as I always complained, I can fucking never sustain maps. This is so stupid. Now I kind of miss it. And maybe Zana would be a good way to fix it too.
I get that Zana is supposed to be like the map, like gal, like for a better word, the map gal, and it's about sustaining maps or getting more map drops or stuff like that. But why can't it be more about other things though, like about the juicy loot combos or the currency? That's rather than it being about map sustain because. Yeah, we're already at map sustain point. Like people are saying they're running like, they're 20 shaped strands and they're ending up with 40. So
I mean, you guys are pretty
really
happy.
gonna get that back.
You're pretty happy with like reliquary keys overall, right? People are like, okay, this is if it would stay in the game, nobody would really mind, even though legacy items are broken. Like, what if they would do Zana like that, where it was like, sometimes you get completely nothing, and sometimes you get this huge reward, and you could put tons of currency into it, and it's like six linking. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you just don't get anything. But it's another way for people to gamble their currency.
If reliquaries were a currency sink, because they're currently not, right? You just trade them around between players. But if they were an actual currency sink, that would sink so much currency, more than Zana does.
Oh yeah, you mean if you could just like buy them from an NPC for 50 chaos?
Yeah, basically.
People would just like burn all their chaos. Gambling.
If Zana had some gambling like element to it, that would be perfect. Maybe Zana develops a gambling habit and we get some gambly Zana mods. I'd love gambly Zana mods. I'd be all over that shit. I'd spend way too much money on it. Makes for great stream content.
Gambly Zana. That sounds pretty cool. Like where you get like, I don't know, 1 to 100 quantity on your map. But it's like skewed towards the lower values and you only get the higher ones like every now and then.
What do you feel if a few people suggested this in chat?
How you thinking?
Kind of been thinking about it myself. What if the main thing of Zana was more to crafting the maps rather than adding stuff to it? So what if you could like no. I'm not saying go back to like exalting maps, but what if there was a case of like you could pay a lot of currency to take a mod off a map? So rather than like spam re-rolling, like if you you get like a pretty nice map, you're like, oh, it's got temp chains, it's got this, it's got that, it's got that. If you could just like pay like 5 chaos to take the temp chains off.
That's a really cool idea, but I think really it would be much better if they would set up an entire story around Zana and they're like, after the death of her father, she now turned to like gambling or something. After years of gambling, she became a dealer and now she's like dealing MTXs to people and can gamble MTXs and shit. Zana's like, she doesn't care about maps anymore.
Someone in chat, skip redo. Map device is actually a giant roulette wheel. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
That.
That'd be
Like a
sick.
giant golden roulette wheel. You like chuck your chaos orbs in, it goes bonk, 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 and it comes up with this animation on screen, spins around, and you land on some map mod, man.
That'd be nice.
Like it could be something amazing. It could be like 5 uniques drop in this map or some shit like that, or an Exalta's guaranteed to drop in this map, or it could be some shit like double temp chains or some shit.
And it reflects.
Or remove
Yeah, I
a
mean
map
that's
mod like
that's what it's
Tarke
gonna be,
suggested.
man. That's what it's gonna be. The full on gamble mode. Throw your chaos in the roulette wheel. Oh my god, I
Yeah,
would
but that's
love
so
that.
sick, right? Like,
Yeah.
It's
I
so
don't know.
good. It
Adding
sounds
the
like I'm
visual,
joking,
too.
like it's a meme, but no, that would be amazing,
Or
man.
Yeah,
you
I
could
would
put
do that as well.
MTXs in there and it would drop Exalted orbs, right? How
MTXs.
about that? That would
You
be
could
so
drop
sick, too.
MTXs in your map.
And all,
Like-
all the monsters would have the MTX on as well.
Yeah.
So to get rid of all like the spare arcane boots 57 you've got from the boxes, you just throw them into the map device.
Yes,
Yeah,
that
that
would be
works.
great.
Yeah.
You
So
can
fun,
also use
yeah.
like spider pets, and every mob has a spider pet. That's basically added spiders.
It's not pay to
You know
win,
what
guys.
Path of
What are you
Exile's really
talking
missing? Pay to win.
That would
Yeah.
be
We could
nice.
do with
yeah.
some more pay to win.
Right,
Come
finally,
on.
Extra pet slots. That'd be sick.
Oh god, you just have an army? No, that would not be sick.
I don't know, I think
Imagine if it
I'd
was
be into
extra pet
extra pet slots. I'd be really into that. That's
Yeah,
value.
but what if it was like, okay, would
If no, seriously,
do you
if it
think-
was like kill Shaper and hardcore and you get to use another cat, I would become the world's best Shaper farm. I would get good at the game so I could have a cat. Like I'd be on that shit. Like, dude, that's worth.
what about like extra pet slot for every 10,000 MTX spots like MTX points you spend? Do you think people would try to get like an?
I've
army
already
of
got
pets
like
going?
10 pets then. That's
Yes.
no, I'm like that. I'm into that system. Like win-win either way.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be guaranteed. Like every 10,000, you have a chance or something of getting a new thing. Like would
I
people
think-
really spend like so much money
yeah,
on this?
yeah,
Just to have an army posted on Reddit,
yeah.
look at the thread for like 3 minutes. Oh yeah, this is so good, and then
I think
thread
GG would
just fades
instantly
away.
become the biggest gaming company in the world if they did that. Like instantly.
I think
I'm always surprised.
one
Like,
of the
with
things that you're
boxes-
forgetting though is like a lot of people, much like myself, don't have any like financial intelligence. So it'll be one of the things I'll be like, oh okay, so I've got how much money? Ooh, that's not very much. Ooh, that's a really cool looking set of boxes. So if I took, I've got say £100. If I just spent like £10 on boxes, I could get my MTX. Oh, I didn't get Purple Arc, and I want to play an Arc build. Okay, so if I just took £5 more and I threw it in, okay, nearly
Just
there.
one more.
Just one more,
Just one
then you
more.
go.
Yeah.
Then eventually you get it, and you're like, yes. And then you play your build, and you go, nice. And then you hate yourself for a few months, but then they release more stuff, so it's fine. So as long as they kept giving me the chance to get more pets, I can live with the self-loathing. It's like a very even sort of playing field. I think it works.
What do you guys think about boxes in general? I always
I
wonder
like
what
'em.
people
I
think.
like them.
I think they've gotten better.
Fun.
Like,
They're,
Like having
they're definitely
people.
making it better. So like on the spectrum of MTXs, boxes are towards the more unethical side of the spectrum. Like absolutely.
Yeah.
Like it takes advantage of people's like gambling instincts. It
Mhm.
causes people to spend more, like that's not really like super clear when you're buying them how what you're going to get and whether you're going to get the things you want and so on and so forth. Like it's not the most highly ethical thing, but GGD needs to make money. These are proven to be extremely profitable
Yeah, I
as
know.
like
but
as an MTX, extremely.
I
And
dislike them so much.
What if you
That's
could
it, they're
turn
local.
in your MTXs always, and it was a really high chance, like 90% chance that you're gonna break even. Would that still be like so unethical for them to do that? Like you could turn in your old MTXs, like let's say you'd be bored with something or you'd have multiple of something, you could just turn it in, try to roll something
I
else
think
or
if
get
they
points
did
back.
away with duplicates or had some way of
Yeah.
reusing those duplicates in some fashion, then that would be like the big next step. I think they could take that would I think if
Yeah.
it's for example caused Yoji to embrace the mechanic, because I think that they're getting better each box each time. Like they're making it more rewarding. They're making it like, hey, this is a much better value proposition for players now. Like this most recent one, all of the MTXs were new, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of them were reskins, but they're all new, whereas they weren't a lot of repeats of things that you already have. So that's a big step in the right direction. And they published the odds of each of the items. It's like
Yes.
that's like
huge.
a really good thing to do.
Wait,
so.
but you'd still be
getting better and better.
lose. Wait, I don't. Do you really think that? Like, aren't the boxes like from a if you're just looking at MTX value, aren't the boxes like extremely profitable? Unless you
Yeah.
have like all the they are, right?
It like
You
it
don't have
depends
any of
though.
them.
Like so this
If you buy 2 or
But
3.
so
this
as someone who
system-
spends way too much money on boxes, as I previously said, this system I think is very close. If they had like a trade down crafting system for duplicates, that would be perfect.
Yeah.
They've said they don't want to do it. One thing they could do just to make it feel a lot better is remove fireworks because no one
Yes.
fucking wants fireworks. You can get
Because I
something.
got so many fireworks from my boxes.
You can get
and a
something
hideout
that you're
crystal.
not that happy about. Like, even the hideout crystals, you're like, oh, whatever. But you can at least do something with it. These, like, stupid temporary ones are completely terrible. If it was part of, like, they used to do, the skin transfers. And those being temporary have always felt kind of awkward. But those being in the boxes would make sense. Like, if they put those in instead of,
Yeah.
that would make it feel a lot safer. And if they really didn't like, the trading in, if you could, instead of getting a duplicate, you got a skin transfer, that would be very fair. Because
Yeah, that'd be
it's something you can actually use. So if they're like, you know what, we don't want people trading in,
but
then give the skin
then they're-
transfers. From
then
a
they're
pure
just giving
point
away
perspective.
money, no?
No,
Like
because
how cheap would the boxes
mean,
have to be at that
they,
point?
no, they
There
can
would-
keep them exactly the same. Because if you think about it, right? So let's
This is
say
random.
I think if you add up all the money I spent on the last set of boxes, worked out. I think I spent about £60 to £80, and that was a combination of like some stream donations and stuff I spent myself. From that, I got 3 pets. I got the full arcane set. I got the full purple necrotic set minus the helm, a bunch of little small things, and then a bunch of random fireworks. Now that to me felt good because if you actually looked at the actual price if I'd bought it all, I made a profit
Yeah.
in quotations.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's fine. The problem with it is it does play on people's addictions. I am very bad at that, and I kind of actually avoid games which have these like very bad, not I say bad, but we avoid these kind of games. Part of the reason why I stopped playing League of Legends is because I know that I'm a sucker for skins. I actually stopped playing League for part of that reason. But that and the community's terrible, but anyway. If they removed the things that no one is happy for, and it's not a massive deal, like if they just remove the fireworks and instead of duplicate you got like 1 skin transfer, that doesn't break the system. They don't need to change the price of the boxes, but it will make everyone feel better about them. No one's going to feel worse about it. Everyone will only be like, oh dude, I really appreciate that, GGG.
Yeah, except GGG, because they're not gonna feel good about it.
Why? They're
'Cause,
still
like,
going to get
for-
just
for
as much
every-
money from plebs like
wouldn't-
me who
wouldn't-
throw everything at the screen.
No,
I mean,
no
currently
way.
they are making 0 money from me because I don't like the boxes, and if they maybe improved it in a way that I could, like, I don't know, change in my duplicates or not get like all fireworks, I would spend money on boxes.
Wait, you've bought
Yeah,
boxes before though.
I bought boxes once where I got a donation to buy boxes, and I got scammed over so hard that I after that knew I will never buy boxes again. And I only think I get my boxes from whenever they do this, like if you buy an MTX you get 1 random box. I usually wait until like one of those deals happens and then I buy like 1 random MTX that I always wanted to have. Like, oh, I needed a dagger skin anyways because every build uses a dagger, so I bought like the Seraph dagger and got a box. That's what I did. And so far I've gotten one thing that I kind of liked from all boxes, and that was the Carnage weapon effect, which is kind of like whatever.
I
So
agree with
I-
you.
I
It's
don't
so
feel
weird
good
to
about
me
boxes.
that people always talk about like, well, I normally wouldn't buy this stuff, but since it goes to GGG, it's a good thing. And now GGG gives you like a mechanic that basically gives you more than it costs, and people still have a problem with it, kind of.
and abuses people's like affinity for gambling addiction. I think that's like really, really
I mean, video
asshole
games
shitty
abuse
behavior.
people.
I really dislike that stuff. Usually I avoid games all the time. If the game had this before I started playing it, I would not be playing this game right
Really?
now. I avoid games like this like hell. I played MapleStory back in the day. Once I realized what it did to some of my friends, that the addiction, I realized that I would never support this
Yeah,
stuff
but
again.
games are addicting in general. I don't know. Just
Yeah,
But
Yoji,
that's
like,
in
these
general,
MTX,
especially
they
an-
don't-
especially in ARPG, plays to people's addictions, right? It's always about, hey, the next map will have the big drop. The next map, this will happen. The next map, they're always hoping for the shafts, for the combs. Like
Yeah.
it's basically one big addiction, right?
I mean,
it is
the-
gambling. if you think about it or not.
It
it's
is
just all
one
real
good
money.
thing if you design your game like in the Skinner box type of way, where you always have like this dangling carrot in front of you, and you play, like waste your time. But if you're actually like directly wasting your money away like that way, I think that's like a big step up, and I think it's really
Yeah,
horrible.
but time is money. I don't know.
The
Right?
So
things you're talking
I
about,
get-
they don't provide anything in game, right? They don't provide any tangible benefits. So you're buying it just to wear
Yeah.
interesting hats on your character, right?
But people fall for that still, and it's they bank on that. They knew this when they implemented it that it would do that, and they still did it, and I dislike it.
It's not about the fact that it's like a real item or not. It's about the like mild kind of layer of deception that hangs over this style of mechanic that's gonna trick people into spend a little bit more money than they would have expected, that sort of thing. And I get what you're saying, Rise, that this is a way for us to give money, which we love doing to GGG to support them, and that GGG has one of the best monetization models in the industry still. But I still think there's room for improvement here, right? Yeah, they're kind of like following the shift of it getting a little bit worse, and
exactly.
And that's kind of what happened. Like, there's still room for improvement there, right? And I agree that my suggestion of like taking duplicates out or having like a trade-in or something like that would affect the bottom line of these boxes in a pretty big margin. And seeing how profitable these boxes have been for GGG and the fact that they've probably gone a long way to funding 6 extra acts. Then I actually quite like Taki's suggestion, where it's like the duplicate system is still in there, so you still have that kind of RNG factor, and you're still kind of like, have to, if you really want like a full set, then you have to be prepared to spend a bit more than the set's worth because you're getting it early, that sort of thing. But at least instead of duplicates, you're getting something else that is usable, so the skin transfers.
You're getting something you can actually use. Yeah. Because while I agree with what you said, Rise, I vividly remember, I think this was covered, I can't remember when it was, I think it might have been the first I was on State of Exile, when it was the same league that the boxes came out and someone donated to Pox like $200 or something, and he spent $200 on boxes and didn't even get a full set. And he just got like 10 gloves, 10 boots. So you could be like, yeah, it's one of those things of like, oh, but you get to support GGG, and supporting GGG, like, okay, this is just from my personal point of view. I like supporting GGG, but when I like drop too much money on a supporter pack, I also do it because I get something out of it. It's not like a pure, like, I'm just donating this directly to Chris Wilson because he's such a beautiful person. Like, there's some selfishness in it.
Nobody's forcing you
no,
to do
but
that,
no one
right?
is. No one is forcing me to do that.
Well,
but if you're going to do that,
are...
if you're going to do that, and in return all you get is like 20 pair of boots, that's going to piss you off. Because at least with the supporter packs, you get back what you want. Like, you pay and you get something back.
It sounds like the person who's like, I played 10,000 hours and I've never dropped an Exalted Orb, but there's these streamers that, they play for 3 minutes and they drop an Exalted. Like, it's all just very RNG.
Yeah, it would still be RNG, really, but it's less of a screw you. Like, I like the current system. Like, I'm a massive fan of the current system, and I'm glad that it's improving, and every set of boxes has gotten better and better, as Ziggy's been saying. But if they did just, like, 1 or 2 more changes about it, then you can be like, okay, cool. And boom.
I think the kicker is people will spend more money on them if they make this change, I think. Like, I don't think that they're going to make less money if they make this, because people aren't going to be like, well, I've got 1,000 skin transfers, now I'm going to stop buying boxes. Like, that's not going to happen, right? Mm-hmm. Like, if they remove the duplicate system entirely, then yeah, they'll probably lose money, Rise. I think you're right.
Then they won't buy the skin transfers, though. They've got 1,000 skin transfers.
I mean, they're like,
have 1,000 crystals instead.
Like,
you can use
like
crystals. Come on.
I think that's on like the bottom rung of like the profitability spectrum.
Maybe they could do something like the Hearthstone system, where you can disenchant your cards into like some currency that you can use to buy.
I think that would be the best system, but I'm pretty sure I've read somewhere that they've explicitly said they won't do that system for X reason. I've heard them say they're not going to do that.
Basically.
So that's why I think
the prophecy
keeping some level
5 items into one,
like good.
Five
fuck that
MTX
prophecy.
into one box.
Fuck that prophecy.
Prophecy for your MTX tab? That'd be nice. I mean, maybe Ziggy can comment on this, but in 3.0, Chris has confirmed that there's a new UI for MTXs, right? So what we have now is completely disappearing. So what happens to like my 10 purple armor sets, or like the armor sets I never use that I have multiples of? Thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, but then that's
there is an entirely new MTX system coming. Yes.
Wait, have you seen it?
I know
Look
what
at
it's
his
gonna
face.
be.
Of course he's seen it.
Oh, look at
God.
him.
I know what
Look
it's
at that
gonna
smug
be.
son
Okay,
of a
what
bitch.
I
I
haven't
know,
seen it.
what I've read
What they've
about this is,
yeah, go ahead.
what I read
You
about
guys
this
tell me
is
what you know.
that there was that it will be like you can apply MTX to an armor slot instead of the item. That's what was mentioned at some point. So I could put my body armor onto my body armor slot, and now if I level and I upgrade my, I don't know, level 20 body armor for level 31, I won't have to change the MTX. I don't know what happens to the tabs, but I hope they will go because they are like so outdated. But I know that you can apply MTXs like once and be done with your outfit, which I think is already pretty good.
I think one thing which I'd love them to do, sorry to cut you off there, but like if they just had a window, you open it, it has all of your MTX, you equip it, your MTX stays there. So that when I'm finished with that character, I can go into the next character, equip my soul clarity without going, hang on, which character did I last play with clarity? Log out, log in, log out, log in, log out. Like, I can't find it right. Let's send an email. Wait, hang on, there's this add-on I can use. Refresh, nope. Oh, this character, go back into the game. All right, cool. Like, if they have it so that it's like the window pops up, you equip it, and that's it, then that would be such a nice system because currently it just feels shit to use. And yeah. And if there was like tab 1 is helmets, tab 2 is body armors, and like actual like nice, clean, usable,
That's the funny part about what Yoji said, that they're outdated. Like they were fucking never working. Like let's get real. From day one, the MTX stuff just did not work. It's so weird too, right? I mean, it's their main monetization thing, and they kind of didn't do anything for like a couple years now.
You may recall they actually implemented like the whole microtransaction system really late in the development cycle, and it was always kind of bootstrapped, and it's felt that way ever since then.
Yep.
I remember quite a while after I first started playing, we finally got our first microtransactions. It was like, 10 different skins or something. And it was just such a dodgy system. It was only designed for that then. It barely handled that then. Now we've got
maybe that's
hundreds
a
of
good
MTXs.
thing, Maybe that's a good thing. People are like, they're just so good. They do this for us. They don't even need the money.
Soon we'll have like a big flashing cash shop button in the middle of the screen at all times, like all these Asian grinding MMOs have. That's gonna be the best. And like whenever you open a quest, every NPC will be like, and make sure to check out the cash shop.
Like whatever you don't have key bound to something is bound to the MTX shop. So every time you fat finger something, the MTX shop pops out.
And it's going to be like super huge and flashing. There will be so many hardcore deaths to MTX shop opening.
I think you're missing out on a real trick here. So when the beta comes out, we're going to have Act 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They're all going to have new color palettes. So when you enter the zone, you get like a recommended MTX outfit. Like, oh, this armor set would look really good in this tile zone, right? So you enter Act 5, it's like, whoa there. That's some dusty MTX you got there, my friend. Maybe
like
you
a
need
sauce
this
on your
hat
kebab.
and cloak for this cold weather. And then it's like, oh, you get into the dusk. Maybe you need a bit of illumination. Maybe you could use the radiant armor set, and it pops up and you go, okay, cool, cool. Oh, this is a scary zone. These mobs would be frightened by 2 tiger pets. And
that's
it's
where
like, and you
where
go
the
through all the
spiders come
different
into
things,
play.
and it's like, yeah.
Zana mods, they have it planned out.
It was all planned, man.
It all makes sense now.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll just say this, guys. Those are some great theories on what the new monetization system will be. Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck off. Right.
What the fuck?
Okay, how about this? Ziggy, why don't you just do like a simple sketch of how you personally would do the system and just like hold it up in front of your cam and be like, this is how I would do the system, and then we'll be like, that's interesting, and then Chris Wilson will maybe get some ideas, and maybe that will be what it looks like when it comes out. Like, we could promote some really nice thinking, Yeah?
Yes, there's like no way I can do that because I've been told what it is.
You should like write it on a piece of paper, put it on your wall, and one day be like, "Ooh, guys, I didn't notice this explanation for the new MTXs on my wall behind me. Sorry, GGG." Totally accidental.
can you at least tell us, like, if we were to find out about it right now, would we be as jazzed as finding out about, I don't know, 10x or no? Or would we just be like,
No.
What?
Wait. I forget. This is Cute Dog here.
Me and
Yeah.
Cute
I
Dog
do
are very
recall
much
you're-
on like the
you're
whale part of
obsessed
the
with
game.
Microtransactions. Okay.
Yeah, I think for him it might.
Maybe you would, bro. Maybe you would. I think
Okay,
you might be
sweet.
just about as hyped.
That's enough. That's
This
enough for me.
system.
I'm gonna turn off my cam for a second with my tissue paper.
Right, okay. Well, for the sake of Ziggy not being sued the second this podcast ends, going back to third-party software. So you've been using Mercury Trading recently. What is it? A lot of people have been asking me about it, and
Yeah, shit, bro. Every time I get a trade, people are like, "What the fuck is that?" Some people accusing me of cheating as well. Nice Exile HUD. Mercury Trade is a new kind of like overlay trade interface. It's done in Java, I think, and basically this just helps make the selling items, the actual physical act of trading them, a little nicer, man, a little more pleasing. It's just more pleasing. I'll tell you what, it just makes everything a little bit more smoother, a little bit more pleasing, silky, gliding trade. Basically, someone sends you a message and this thing recognizes it and pops up with a little box, and all that shit's in there. It's like, it's got your buttons for your different messages, it's got a little plus symbol to add them to your party, it's got a little T to trade with them, a little minus, which kicks them from a party and closes the box. It's fucking easy, man! And it's got a little thing that your mouse over it highlights it in your stash tab as well, so you don't need to type it into the little stash tab UI. It's just nice, man. It's just nice.
Everything.
If only the problem is like this tackles the least awkward part of trading. It makes like the best part of trading better, whereas like the worst part of trading is trying to buy shit. That's like the worst part of trading. Unfortunately, there's no Mercury Trade for that, but it definitely recommend it. Definitely recommend
I mean, it could make the buying part better, because if the other person is using Mercury Trade, the chances are higher that he will not be like, I can't be bothered to trade with this guy right now, because it's easier for him now to trade with you. I guess that
That's
could
true.
affect it positively. But overall,
Yeah.
I think I just found out about it today, because thanks to like me looking at the primer, and I was like, what is Mercury Trade? So I looked it up, and there was this guy making this awesome commercial. And yeah, it looks really, really cool. I'm definitely going to try that.
It also
It's
tracks all your trades.
Yeah, it keeps a trade log of all your trades. It's actually a pretty big feature for a lot of people that I've got.
oh, so what? Like at the end of the day, you can see like how much you've made from trading.
You can see all your trades from like
that's
since
pretty
you've had
cool.
it running, basically.
Okay, now
It
that's
just
cool.
counts in the trade window.
Yeah, you can like click a little button and then just like scroll through them, and you can actually like message people back from there. It's like all the buttons and everything, so you can like see where the item was in your stash if you want. So if you didn't end up making the trade, you can still find it again. It's pretty cool, man. It's pretty bloody cool. A lot of people saying in chat like it sounds highly illegal. It basically just interacts with the in-game systems in the same way a single button macro would work. So it's fine, and GGG has confirmed it's fine as well. So basically, all it does is uses the chat commands, so like /reply and stuff like that, and /invite, player name, that sort of thing.
If they've approved that, and this is like the thing, so when I first saw Mercury Trade, I wasn't really that interested in it for that, but I was interested about it for what it could lead to. If GGG's approved that, does that mean someone could make a League Stone tracker? And it was just, again, a small overlay, much like Mercury Trade, and it just said 3 out of 3 or whatever.
You would have to do it manually, though, because it's not like GGG has some sort of hook that you can hook onto for that sort of system. GGG would have to make some sort of way of hooking into that. Because, like, this works because it can read your chat logs, and because that's the hook, essentially. And then the other hooks it has is the fact that chat commands exist, so it can manually type into the game for you, type / invite, so on and so forth. Whereas the League Stones or Sextants or anything like that, none of them have any hooks for it to hook into, right?
Nope.
Like, this is not like screen reading software.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of like crossing a different kind of like line there. When you're like screen reading, you're like, well, maybe I'll just get it to screen read my loot drops, or maybe I'll just get it to auto pick them up as well. Like,
yeah, because it doesn't post a message in your chat when you like your League Stone runs out or something, so it can't track any of that. Also, putting your League Stones automatically into the thing also doesn't work. You would still have to do that on yourself.
I don't mind having to put stuff in myself, but it's one of those things of if GGG can't be bothered to put some sort of overlay on, like even if they just put it in the quest log, which would make so much sense, just 3 out of 3 or 4 out of 5. If we could have the third-party tools to do that ourselves, I would be like, okay, sure. At least we can like find a workaround. Because I play a lot of MMOs, and the whole thing of MMOs is like, yeah, UIs just make your own, and then you get like something which actually works for what it is, and I don't know.
I think the bigger point here is that this highlights that there's some issues with UI design in PoE that could be improved. So, like the trading experience could be improved on GGG's side by having a lot of this stuff be a lot simpler to do instead of you having to like open your menu to kick the person from your party and all that shit, right?
Yep.
Like, could be a lot easier.
UI is just awful. God, I hate it so much. If they could change the buff system.
Oh,
like,
I was
the
so
fact that you have buffs and
disappointed,
debuffs mixed in, it's like, wait, I'm popping my Volt Discipline, gotta make sure that it's up so that I don't die. Let me just look for it through these 20 buffs for a couple seconds. They keep moving around.
It's not useful information. It might as well not be there. I would turn it off if I could, pretty much.
The
people say
just have my auras, that's it.
The saddest thing about the Xbox release to me was when they showed the Xbox footage and the buff bar wasn't changed. Because if they were ever going to change it, that would have been the time. And I was like, oh, maybe, because they're gonna have to make all these new systems for Xbox. If they were ever going to do it, you would do it for the Xbox launch. And the second I saw the footage and the buff bar hadn't changed, I'm like, they're never changing it. Because it's so much wasted development. Because if they haven't changed it for Xbox, they must have no plans of changing it. Because
they spent too much time making the health bars look beautiful.
Yes.
Xbox has better UI.
Well, we get that when the new thing comes out, but like.
Do we?
Yeah, we've seen the footage.
Changes,
we'll get the new
like the crystal energy shield and everything.
We'll get that. Yeah. But
it wasn't the PC footage.
Yeah. Do you think they'll ever change the buff bar system? Because the fact they haven't done it for Xbox makes you think it will just never happen. I guess it can't be a technical limitation because
it has to be.
But how? Like
I don't know. So many other games just have like you can just move here and like especially the Xbox thing. Like I don't think people who play consoles are that used to a system where they can move around their UI versus PC gamers where
no, but like just
you
having
can just
two
move everything
separate
around.
lines, just like permanent buffs and debuffs, like just 2 lines. That's all they need to do.
Yeah,
so
but
still
even
like
that would
shit,
be
but...
annoying. It's like you have to, your life bar is down here and your debuff bar is up there, so you have to constantly be doing this to like see if you're debuffed. Like make it just able to put it next to your your potions or something. Yeah, just get banged the whole day. That's basically what I'm doing. No, just kidding. I buy the MTX for Volt Discipline, and that way I can always see it. Not pay to win at all.
Maybe put in some kind of UI like how like WoW, you go to Curse or whatever you use, and then you just download a bunch of UIs, and then have like bars that like tick down from the left to right side, and you can edit that. But then that opens up, like we're discussing, that opens up like where do you draw the line of like you can do this and you can't do that, Because there's a Flask overlay that it doesn't hook in. There's no injection where when you press, let's say you press 1, a green bar will start to tick down slowly for the duration that you can set. Like 6 point whatever seconds. Yeah, and it's technically legal because it's outside the game. It's an overlay. But like, is that okay? Like, does that give you an advantage? Like seeing that green bar tick down and be like, okay, now it's instantly time to. I'll never have any like slack in between my flasks.
Oh my god, that's so sick.
Yeah, that's really good.
That's a good idea.
And it should definitely be legal because it doesn't even interfere with the game at all, except for an overlay.
Well, Popsicle sticks aren't
time,
legal,
and
so
it was okay.
I don't know. I remember seeing that when it was first put on Reddit. I saw it when it was first put. I'm like, this is really good, but I didn't want to use it for 2 reasons. One, I knew that the second I started streaming again, because I think it was shown during Breach, and I wasn't streaming during Breach. I thought the second I start streaming again, because I knew that I'd use it for a few weeks without, I'll just get like constantly spammed. What the fuck is this? Like, what is it? What is it? What is it? Hack, like exploit. So I purposely didn't use it for that reason.
You just put like a huge letters on the middle of the screen.
What I'll do is I could use one of those, but do that thing that some streamers do, which is really obnoxious, where that overlay like covers 8/5 of the screen. So if I just cover like the entire bottom of the screen so you can't see anything, then maybe you can get away with using it. But
also, it's important to know one more thing. There's people in chat asking about like multiple actions. It's multiple actions that send to the server is illegal. So you can't press one button that sends 5 flasks to ZiggyD servers. But this is outside the game. So when you press that number 1, you're only sending, let's say, your diamond flask to ZiggyD, and then this is just like a program running on your computer. So like if I had something work related where I needed a hotkey, it's completely separate. But once again, there is a lot of gray area in this game, and so that's why you need like I guess that's why we're always trying to improve like the rules and like the TOS and like the forum posts that we're discussing.
It's literally displayed in the game. It's totally outside of the game. I mean, it's literally tracking a press of a button.
I remember though, because it's weird. I personally would approve it, but I remember vividly like talking about a bad game again. Back when I played League, people used to have like timers for when they killed certain like things in the jungle. So like, there'd be a monster, you kill it, you got a buff, and it would respawn on a set time. So like when you killed it, it would start a timer, and people were freaking out about that being terrible. And that was, again, it was completely separate outside of game. It was just a timer which would just start. It had no impact on the game, but you had an unfair advantage of people who weren't using the timer. So I'm guessing they would have the exact same argument that, well, it would be unfair to use this flask thing if not everyone is using the flask thing, is what I'm guessing they would say.
That's already so much in the game. I mean, they literally promote the usage of acquisition.
Yeah,
because they don't give premium tabs to people, so it's like, we've got this system for trading, but you can't use it unless you pay for it. Go use acquisition, a third-party program. Like, come on.
All this stuff is so confusing for a new player, because recently, like if we were to do Q&A, like I'm gonna ask Yoji this, okay? And Yoji, if I asked you, is using a popsicle. I'm asking the new player. Yeah, Yoji, you never played this game before. If I asked you, like, hey, is using a popsicle stick across 5 keys to hit all your plots, is that illegal or not? Yes or no? What would you say?
I know that it is illegal.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
But I used one until I knew it was.
Whoa!
Man.
So you're a naughty boy too. God,
I
whipped it.
Because I did. I flasked with my mouse. I flasked with my mouse buttons and I taped them together at some point. So I only had to press. When I was playing Pathfinder, so I only had to press like the middle of the middle 2 buttons, and it would press all the other the 5 buttons in a row at the same time.
Yeah,
because I was like,
Jesus.
That's where the gray area is, right?
You're fucking
pressing...
going to jail, buddy.
we get the authorities involved. But basically, you're inputting the 5 keys, but it's a problem because you're inputting actually 1 key, right? But to a new player, like, how are you supposed to know that stuff, right? Like,
I mean, now I changed my flask so I can, like, with my thumb. So if I show my mouse now, it's like all these buttons. And if I use my thumb, I can, like, fat finger, like,
and everyone just start showing your mouse. Yeah.
Everyone show the mouse, guys.
Yeah, I just like fat finger all the mouse buttons at the same time.
I've built like natural crust on mine, so you know it clicks all with 1 finger anyway. So that's not even illegal. That's just that's just my body, man.
That's nothing
for my body.
Is that legal? Like if you just got heaps of like gamer goop in there and it's just all gooped up and you press 1 button and all the goop presses the other buttons, like is that?
Probably get that cleaned up, Raiz.
Is having a fat thumb illegal?
Yeah, like what if you got fat fingers and you like press 3 flasks at once?
Buttons all with 1 press. I mean, that's
yeah. No, that's because you're actually doing. I think the popsicle stick is like it. They count that as 1 key, but I don't know.
But what if I like clamp the popsicle stick to my fingers? It's not removable anymore. It becomes a part of me. What happens then?
Yeah.
See, this is why.
That's fine.
Then when they ban you, you sue them.
Yes.
Well, that's why there's life is not black and white like that. So like that's why there's an appeal process. If you get like banned or like your account gets locked for that stuff, when you send in your appeal, it basically forces ZiggyD to look at the reason why they had that rule in place, right? And until they can get the actual rule perfect, then they'll review it case by case. So I think you'll be okay, Yoji. I just sent in a report for you, but I think you'll be okay.
Send them a picture of your crusty mouse. Look at this, guys. This is normal. They're like, no, I don't want to see that.
I think sadly though, because a lot of this just comes down to like new players lacking information. That in Path of Exile of all games, like the whole game is new players lacking information. So kind of everything is just like because I started this conversation, I wrote up the show notes like but like where do new players know? But you can say, well, how the fuck does a new player know anything about this game? So like it's just when the second you put that to Path of Exile, the whole thing just kind of like falls apart because it's already fucked against new players. So.
I get the question all the time, like, is there one video I can get to like catch up on all this shit, or is there like one website I can go to like find all of the different scripts and auto hotkeys and overlays and trade software I should use? And I'm like, oh. Sorry, bro. It's called the internet.
Yeah.
It's Google.
Get ready to spend 10 hours there, then you'll be ready. Spend 10 hours learning, and then you'll be ready to get started.
It is
But those
getting a
are
bit like that.
those are things that are just kind of outside of the regular gameplay. But if somebody's like, "Is there a video on how to price check items?" It's like, no. I mean, every 3 months is something totally different. I mean, maybe there are videos, but they're rarely ever accurate. It's usually like very general. Sell these items for this general price from 10 to 120 chaos. Here you go.
I mean, so recently I introduced a friend to the game who'd never played PoE before, and I like told him half the stuff he needed to know. But before he started playing, I said, right, okay, you either need to pay a bunch of money, but before you get to that, this is how it works. So you need to install a loot filter. What's loot filter? I explained to him what a loot filter is. I then need to link him a video so he knows how to install the loot filter. He then needs to know which option of the loot filter to enable. Okay, so that's that sorted. Okay, you now need an auto logout macro. He's like, what? No, you need a macro to log you out. You press the button, you log out. I was like, is that fine? Yeah, how do I install that? Right, go to auto hotkey. Okay, you've got your logout macro. Okay, cool. Do you want to trade in this game? He's like, yeah, I want to trade. Okay, do you know what acquisition is? No. Right, so go watch this video on what acquisition is. Or drop about $10, $20 and you don't need to watch that last video. And they're like, sure.
But they still kind of need to watch the video because they gotta know about XYZ. Like,
yeah,
or
so it's
PoE
just
trade,
like,
whatever.
I don't know. But getting like back onto the topic of like third-party software, so have you guys seen all the things with like gem swap macros? Are those legal or not? I've never used one, but you're not allowed to use those.
You're a bad boy if you do that.
They can't be legal.
What is the difference between what actually is the difference between doing that and one which like auto logouts? Because that's like press escape, press the thing, and it logs you out. Isn't that the same thing as open inventories, move gem? Isn't it just like one extra click?
Pick up gem, pick up other gem.
Oh, because it's like multiple. Oh, okay, so it's just a case of like
moving is
clicks,
fine, but if it clicks multiple times, then that's
you
not
hit it.
fine.
There's no way like a human could do that in the time. If you watch the clip, you're just like, holy shit. And I mean,
I need 5 seconds to log out manually. Just saying.
So, okay, but this is getting stupid now. Could you have 3 separate like auto hotkey binds? So it's like 1, 2, 3. So one opens, one moves, one moves another.
Yeah.
That would still be quicker than automatically moving it. Would that be allowed?
You could do that.
So
Well,
shouldn't that be
cut out
something
the
like
movement
every
aspect,
Zeri farmer
right?
does then?
You get-
Where it's just like they just
If you're a
press 3
streamer,
buttons
you get
and
viewers
it's just...
reporting you. But...
yeah.
I mean, people report you for fucking
Yeah, people
using
get
a loot
reported for
filter.
anything.
Like, is that cheating? Is the loot filter cheating? Like, people report you for all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah,
reported.
no, that would be fine because as long as it was a one-to-one server-side action, you just have to do a bit of research on what server-side actions are. Because opening a menu, like opening your inventory, that's not an action. That's fine. So you can have one hotkey that opens a menu and then picks up a gem. So clicks on the gem. The clicking on the gem is a server-side action. Moving the gem up to the armor spot, that's not a server-side action. So you could also include that in the same one. So you could have one button that opens your thing, picks up a gem, moves it to the right slot. Then you got to press number 2 without moving your mouse or anything to put it in the place.
yeah,
which
no, I
picks
guess,
up the other gem. That's one action then. So you would have to get this refined. And
Yeah, because the second you move
great
anything,
potential
it
for
screws.
failure.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
It's basically like hand on your mouse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hand on your mouse.
Yeah.
It's also important to note another thing. I sent a ticket to ZiggyD support because there's a macro where you can press a key and it cycles through multiple keys. So I sent this and I was like, hey, is this legal? And they were like, no, because a single key, even though each press is one server-side action, it still automates the order in which you do it. And then I asked them, what if you made it random, right? Is that a legal thing?
What
So now
use is
it's not
that?
automatic. I was like, it's not now in a sequence. Now it just like chooses some random one. So it's like even worse. And they're like, no, you can't do that. I was like, okay, thanks. So like for new players, you wouldn't know that because it's still one press sends one action to the server. Your next press sends the next action. And like that made sense to me. That's why I sent the ticket. I was like, this thing is okay, right? It's not okay, guys. Don't do it.
This is why you
Don't be a
got
bad
banned,
boy.
bro. Because they're like, we need to keep an eye on this guy.
This guy's too
He's
smart.
like probing
yeah.
the defenses.
Yeah, but can they really track that though? Like, how would they track that?
There'd be
It's
variants.
still
between the key
individual
presses.
keys.
They never found my popsicle stick, so.
Hang on, what brand of popsicle was it? Just so we know that we can recommend the best kind.
It was just like a tape, the duct tape over my mouse button. That was literally it.
Yoji, just stop talking. We don't want you to get banned, okay?
Well,
You're gonna be all right.
You're next. dude.
Here's another one that's just been brought to my attention is the idea of these picket scripts, which basically pick up an item for you, but they're only one-to-one still because you press a button and then it picks up one item, right? So it moves to the item and clicks it. Like that's still only one action.
Yeah, but
What would
wouldn't
be
that
like
have
the
to
use
like
of that?
read
Like,
the game?
Where would
somehow?
what would be like the use of it? Like, what's the application?
As in, you
Picking
just
up Piranha's
you bind it to your one key and you like go over a bunch of you
Oh,
walk to some
so it
items,
just
you
like
go
spam clicks in front of
da-da-da-da-da-da.
you, sort of thing. Okay,
Yeah, you just press it a bunch of times, pick up all the items around you. That'd be the pointer for something like that. Yeah, it would have to read like you can read the screen though with that, and that wouldn't be hooking into the game. So
Yeah, but that's
A lot
kind
of
of
gray
how
area.
bots work now. Like they're
that's kind of what
That's kind of how bots work. They read where
Basi-
the screen. Yeah.
basically.
Basically,
I guess
you make
like
a bot that plays, but you
if
have to
you're
press
if
the
you're
button for every
yeah,
action.
is it a really bot if you have to press the one key over and
That's
over
how you
again?
play
to run it?
PoE now. Oh
It's like
my
basically
God.
just set yourself up on a bicycle, just like pedaling the bot.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, every time I pedal, it presses a button, and then the bot does one thing.
I is part of the issue here, because what often happens, so like if you're kind of like tech inept, for most games, even if you ever thought about using these things, you would never think about it because you never started the steps. But Path of Exile, because from the very get-go it pushes you into third-party software, would you say that it kind of like it shrinks that gap a lot? Because if you're already having to like learn how to use auto hotkey to set up a logout macro, they're already showing you how to use auto hotkey to set up a logout macro. So it isn't part
It's
of
like
the
a gateway
issue.
drug.
Well, it's not even like an
Argument.
enabling jug, but it's kind of one of these things of like, because a lot of games, the question is, can I use auto hotkey with this game? Whereas with this, it's like, okay, here is auto hotkey. You need to use it for some things, and for other things, bad.
Well, I'm just going to say this. One day I was using Mercury trade, and the next day I was on Croc. So,
Shows.
Yeah, it's like one day it's Mercury trade, next day it's PoE hard, and suddenly I'm botting all day long.
it can happen, yeah.
It just happens like this. I didn't even notice the difference anymore at some point.
Did anybody else hear Ziggy say croc?
Yeah,
Like as in
it's,
a crocodile?
maybe I picked to obscure a drug. That's
No,
like,
Croc
really
is a
nasty.
drug. It, like,
It's
it
crack.
messes with your
Yeah.
skin, so you get scales.
Croc.
That's what they call
yeah,
it. Croc.
Croc is like this
I
really
thought
fucking
you were
nasty
saying
drug.
crack. I was like, okay, I get it. And I was
It's
wow.
like,
Not at all.
basically
Isn't
imagine
Croc like a
the
sandwich?
I
worst
was too-
drug you
I was
can.
too obscure,
It just-
I guess.
Yeah.
wearing Crocs.
Google it. Google.
Well, then
No.
next I was wearing Crocs as well.
That's a good thing.
Like where I'm from, croc is like a type of sandwich.
Huh.
It's called a croc.
No.
I thought everyone would.
No.
I thought everyone would know that, but okay, I guess not.
Don't worry,
A bit
Ziggy.
obscure,
We
yes.
know our very dangerous
that's right.
drugs. These plebs.
Yeah.
These softcore plebs don't know what they're talking about. Okay, so going off like heavy drug abuse, private trackers. Do we care about them? Do we not care about them? Like, personally, I don't really see what the hoo-ha is, and I don't really care about it. But
A lot of Reddit posts about it because it's like, oh yeah, they get it like a minute faster than you. But I mean, I'm sure all of us have had that situation where like you see a whoop come up and you're like, should I whisper them now or should I wait?
no, you
15
wait 5
seconds?
seconds.
And then
I'm the
you're
king.
like-
I'm
you're
the
like, I
king
don't
of it.
know.
I'm just like,
I don't know if I should do it. It's like a gamble, you know. So it's
So
like if
what
I
you do is
whisper
you
him now,
whisper
he's
him
gonna know.
instantly, and if he doesn't reply, you relock to a different character and whisper him again. That's how you do
Yeah.
it.
I mean,
But
are
the thing is,
private
it's
trackers that private? Like, that's the
Mm.
big thing.
Yeah, if you write it yourself and it's faster than everyone else's, you get all the good items. Like as a flipper,
Is it so easy to get something like that?
If you know how to write it, yes.
I think people learn pretty quickly that if you get, X number of whispers in the first 5 seconds that you list your item, you might want
Yeah.
to look-see. But then like it kind of screws us over too. Like if sometimes you just want that item to like test out something. Like you don't care about it. You're not trying to flip it. And then people are like, they're like, and
No,
then they
you end
invite
up-
you.
You end up on Reddit like that. If you check how much your items are listed for, you end up on Reddit like that, right, Tarke?
yo, fucking dude. Okay, now, for any of you guys, I do daily YouTube content, so if I'm like, oh, I can make a highlight of this, I'm on it. If you guys ever want to start doing like daily stream highlights, stay the fuck away from trade. Do not do it. The second you post a trade video onto YouTube, it's like you are dead. I lost so many like subs in like 10 seconds of price checking an item. I was like, ooh. But how much faster is a private tracker to just having the whoops? Because if I'm playing a particular build, I'll have like 18 tabs of whoops, and I've never bothered looking into a private tracker because the whoops are good enough for me. Like, is it just the same thing, or like what is like the actual difference, people who don't know, between the two?
From what I've seen on Reddit, it would be probably like a minute plus faster, right? Which is significant. Even if it was 30 seconds faster, right?
Really?
15
Is that
seconds
enough?
faster.
Is that enough for somebody to actually trade away the item? Like, wouldn't the person be getting multiple whispers at that point? Like, is
Oh,
a
like,
minute, like even
being
3
at the
minutes,
top
would
of
it
the
be enough?
list, right?
If you're
like,
relatively
if you're
new.
30 seconds ahead of everyone, it's enough time to be like, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
invite and get the trade
Once you're in
started.
the
And some other
party,
people start
yeah.
messaging you, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I've already traded. Sorry, I got this guy already.
Yeah.
You're basically
So we
in
need a
before the people
worse
get
trading
so many
system.
messages that they get suspicious.
Mhm.
That's basically the
Yeah.
trick.
Apparently,
that happens.
chat is saying like once the first week or so is over, and if streaming PV Trade doesn't have issues, it's just a couple of seconds. Apparently, at the start of the league, when there's a lot of traffic on PV Trade, it's more noticeable. But apparently, after that, it's like not noticeable at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's fine then.
Yeah.
We need
mean,
a
I
worse
don't
trading
mind
system
at
with a
all, like-
bigger delay.
I don't mind. I think it's just fair game if someone makes a better tool to use GGG's API. Like everyone can develop trade websites and track this as they want. The API is out there
can't.
for everyone to grab. I mean, but nobody like you could just go out there, learn how to do it, and write one.
I mean, if you
Oh, yeah,
like, for
totally.
example, like Ziggy, if we
I
really
just want
wanted
to play a
to,
fucking video game.
if we really
goddammit.
wanted to, we could like start the stream and just be like learning how to API, and chat would talk us through it. Like, to be fair, if we really cared about it, we could just like get that third party installed kind of thing. But
Stream advantage confirmed again.
yeah, true. That is
free programming lessons.
yeah.
Overall, it's not a big deal. You know, unless you're flipping all day, I guess, then maybe you want that small advantage. But for most of us, it's just kind of like it's whatever.
Do you think that like this will push GGG into improve, like the fact that the community is like so outraged by trading right now that you cannot go on Reddit without there being at least like 8 posts of price fixing? Like the community is obsessed with trading at the moment. Do you think like all this added like heat will like get worse getting closer to 3.0 if there isn't trading improvements? Or
It's always been like that. It's just people. Reddit just goes on these,
yeah.
all of a sudden we found out there's botting in PoE. Let's everybody talk about it. It's like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
It's been happening since the dawn of time. Now there's
Yeah.
no sudden botting wave out of nowhere. Like people didn't start it just now. People have been doing it for a long time. So I think this is just one of the things where GG is just like, okay, they're gonna be mad about this, but I mean they've been mad about this for like 3 years now. It's fine.
I
don't
think
it's gonna
I think
speculate.
what kind of happens as well is that as they fix more of the other problems, people like have to go back to be the old stuff to be mad about, like the stuff that's been around for longer. Like performance, for example, has been bad for a while, but at some point it got to the point where people complained so much that they kind of like knew, okay, I guess we really have to do something about this now.
Yeah, but performance, it interferes with the game itself.
Yeah.
Trading, not
Also
necessarily.
interferes with
I mean,
the gaming
It's
experience.
not the same
interferes, but you can still play the game while having kind of an awful trade experience.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
called solo
you're
Southbound.
still going. Not. Not
As a Southbound
necessarily.
player, it's easy to talk, of course, about this kind of stuff.
Do you
Like,
do you know people? No, do you know people who were genuinely like the trading system is so annoying that I'm quitting the game now. The game
I
is
know-
not worth playing. I know a
I
lot
know
of people that
who
quit.
play
over-
Southbound because of trading being so bad now that it's officially implemented and there's a ladder.
They still play, right?
And solo self-found is only one step away from quitting. We all know that.
Yeah, we know, like, see Rise, like he's on the verge of quitting for like 5 leagues now. Or so.
Oh,
Now
no,
he's, like,
I've been
Southbound.
happier than ever. I had a dark period. Now I'm happier than ever. I don't know.
And
the
now
last
he's in
few
the denial phase. So that will go away.
Sudden waves
No,
of
no.
happiness are the worst sign, Rise.
No, I
Well,
just got
Project
it.
PT basically quit after
I just
Southbound.
got off
Yeah.
Reddit and I'm a happier human being. That's all there is to it. Just
But-
kidding. I read Reddit every day. Not good.
No. Okay. Well, unless anyone like has anything left they really want to say about trading, I guess we can go into sort of like the end of show off topics if people have anything like pressing they want to talk about.
I have one thing, actually.
Go for it.
It's the opposite of a rant. Like a positive rant. Is there a word for this?
think it's still a
Constructive
rant.
criticism or something?
It's like, no, it's not a rant. I'm like, just like, it's basically, I'm gonna fanboy about Path of Exile a little bit. That's basically what I'm going to do.
Yeah, go
Go
for it,
for
man.
it.
So
Ground nosing.
I recently started to play like a lot more casually and play PoE very, very differently, right? And this kind of made me realize that while PoE maybe has gotten a lot less hardcore that since like 1.3 and 2.0, like this times and all of the time before that, and maybe doesn't really offer so much for like hardcore theory crafting and build making, whatever, as it did back in the day, because the meta is kind of like more explored. If you just want to play like a few hours at a time, PoE has actually gotten a lot better, I think, and it's like really good moment-to-moment gameplay. Just like take 5 maps out of your stash, run 5 maps, and go to sleep. That works really well with PoE now, which before it really didn't, and it just really made me realize that PoE now caters more to like the average dude, because I've not been the average dude for a while, and now that I kind of play only like a few hours per session, I just realized PoE's gotten a lot better in that type of thing. And I just want to say that because I think PoE is pretty awesome for that.
Yeah, like you said before, like I've been on the verge of quitting before, and now that I've gotten over that, and I've like accepted the way the game is right now, I'm probably happier than ever with PoE. Honestly, it's just very refreshing, I guess, especially for somebody like me who only basically plays one game. I don't really like video games, I just like PoE. So that's the problem.
Raiz, I thought you were gonna say for someone like me that only plays solo self-found.
No, I'm trying to stay away from that.
I was
God,
waiting for it.
Someone has to make a compilation of Rise saying I play solo self.
Since you guys aren't giving me shit for the scour thing, I assume you guys haven't seen it.
I've seen
What
it.
is the
My
scour?
chat told me.
Oh, I just read about that this morning.
What happened?
So Rise found a really, really nice hubris circlet, and we realized that it was had a top hybrid roll on it and a good flat roll, and
No,
it was crafted.
It's even worse than that. It's even worse.
It was like super
craft-
bounty. It had a life roll, and you wanted to unmaster the life roll, right?
Yeah.
And then instead of, because it cost the scour, he took the scour from his stash tab, but he right-clicked it, and then he left-clicked on the hubris circlet, and then there was a white item.
It's even worse. I was crafting a circlet forever, right? I couldn't get it, like a hubris. And then I finally got something, and I exalted it. And I rolled something, and I'm like looking at it. Whoa, that's tier 1 hybrid. At which point I crafted the life roll so that I could decraft it, and yeah. And my thought process was that maybe it would be a good idea to remove the mastercraft and then YOLO exalt it again for the energy shield.
All right.
And I just shortened it a lot, and I scoured the item instead.
That was so good. Do you think you hovered over the item with the scour on like scour for
my God.
5 seconds, and everyone watching would be like,
The second I scoured it, people were like, "Don't," or the second after I
Chat
scoured
delay.
it. I've
Chat
had
delay
that
every
brain
time.
fart. That's not even that bad. Before I started streaming, I did an even worse thing. I accidentally picked up like 2 or 4 exalted orbs from my stash. Like I split them, and I freaked out, right? They were like attached to my curse in my hideout, and I was like super freaked out. I'm, oh my god, please don't click destroy, because you've got 2 options, right? Destroy or keep. I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, and I fucking clicked destroy instead, dude. After like 10 seconds of thinking about it, I was just like, what did I just do?
Wait, hold on,
What's wrong with me? I don't know. I freaked out, man. This was like 3 years ago. You know how much exalted orbs are?
what do these words mean? I got a 50-50 chance.
Destroy.
I choked, man. There was too much pressure.
Thinking.
I couldn't take it, man.
I mean, I can't talk. I tried to portal out of a map, so I left-clicked the portal scroll of my inventory and threw it on the ground. I was wondering why no portal was opening.
It just happens. On the bright side, I couldn't even use the hubris because solo self-found, by the way. But yeah.
It was not.
There it is.
What?
What?
Why can't you use it? Did you trade it or?
No, it was just like it had bad suffixes for me, and I'm using the new oak flask, which is really OP.
That's so good.
Oh,
So good.
Yeah, it would have messed up my resistances to the point where, hey, all of a sudden having 2,000 or something more energy shield is actually not worth the 20% penetration. Like, it's pretty ridiculous how big of a difference that flask makes.
Yeah, that flask is. It started to go up in price, but it was cheap. It's still cheap now. It's only like 14 or 50 chaos and hardcore.
It's so insane. I
Yeah.
don't know. they just drop really frequently? Have people
They're-
not
I don't
caught
know.
up?
Like when I first saw it, I said this is amazing, and they were like 3C, and I bought a bunch, which my viewers bought a bunch, and we got hyped because a few days later, Poc said this is amazing, and the prices went up to 5C. So people in my shop like, dude, I made like 2C profit buying 10 of them. Thanks, man. That was amazing. Then like a week later, Mathel was like, these are really good, and they went up to like 10C. And people were like, oh, dude. And now they're like 14. So after this, they might reach like 16. I don't know, but like, oof.
2C profit potential once again.
Oh, so
Yeah.
good, man.
And this is where the people with the private trackers make all the profit because
Yeah.
they will now be first buying these items. That's all.
I think the most important thing about the Wise Oak that maybe the newer players don't know is that it used to have matte colors, completely
Oh,
bland,
it does look better
like red,
now.
blue,
Yeah.
blue, green, and now has very metallic, much better like mixing of the colors in the flask. So it looks really good.
It did look,
It's a good
when it
bust.
first got introduced, it did look fucking terrible.
It was so bad.
Yeah. Like the person who announced it, I think it was, if I remember correctly, it was like a designer made unique. In his like Reddit announcement post, he even like said, yeah, the artwork, they're not finished with it. I'd have to dig up, but he even excuses like, yeah, you know, it's a bit, they're working, they couldn't get it finished. It all get like updated or something. But,
You just need a new OP flask.
yeah.
What can you do? That's so weird. I don't know. Like, does it just drop really frequently? I've only found 2.
You can get them from really low level, and it's like a bismuth base, so it's like just you can get it from like the start. It's one of those things where like you read it, it doesn't make sense to a lot of people. So it's like a
Yeah,
very common
yeah.
base. You can get it at a low level. Most people who see it won't know what it is unless they've like watched a streamer explaining it to them.
Just like a
And-
headhunter.
Yeah, basically. Like
Sweet.
even now, people ask me what is that flask, and we're this late into
Yeah.
the league, and like every streamer's use it, and I get questions like, "Oh, what's the third flask?" And you're like, "Oh, okay." So
Okay.
I'm glad we got to help inflate one item this podcast. I was worried there because we last podcast we talked all about items. This time I was worried we're gonna go whole episode.
Has it
You
actually
guys-
Make that a
increased in
thing,
price now?
We should start taking requests for items
Yeah.
to hype up.
One example.
Damn, that's some shady shit right there.
RMD companies message us which item.
Oh yeah, I got lots of new RMT company emails.
Oh, I've
Yeah.
been getting loads
Yeah, I
of
got
them
heaps too.
recently.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Dude,
There
like-
must be like a new company out there.
It's really annoying for me though because
I always forward those to GGG, just like.
well the
I
thing because I'm waiting for my Twitch partnership to get approved because they got approved and they keep sending me paperwork to fill in, so I'm like constantly refreshing my thing. So whenever I see like an email which is like stream, I'm like oh fuck's sake, it's someone want to sell gold. Delete. I get like so hyped. I'm like no, it's these guys again.
The word they kept messaging me, right? Like
Yeah.
PMing me on Twitch, and then I got a whisper one day. I'm like, whoa, this is new. I got a whisper, probably a bot. So I was in the middle of streaming, so I tried to make a meme out of it, and I responded with "fuck you, you fucker," and they actually responded with a sad face. it blew my mind.
Feels bad.
I thought 100% it was a bot. I'm like, what do I do at that point? Do I apologize? I mean, it's a fucking RMP
You have to
company.
take the partnership now, just out of social etiquette, man.
Yeah, you're obliged now to advertise them.
It was crazy. I couldn't believe it.
I very, very politely told them to fuck off on Twitter because they kept messaging me, man. I was like, I haven't responded to your 5 emails or your 5 tweets at me yet. Like, obviously, I'm not interested. They have left me alone since then, at least, so that's good.
Yeah, but isn't that crazy though? That do they not realize? Maybe that's like a cover up. When GGG bans them, they're like, "Listen, we didn't know that this was bad. Like, we thought this was normal. You can just RMT all the time, no problem."
Well, I mean, they can't really ban the company. They have. I think they can go after these companies.
No, but
potentially.
like, let's say somebody has a streamer accept this partnership.
Oh right, yes.
What happens?
I mean,
What happens at that point?
Actually no, I remember Blade and Soul Wreckful was like it was a paid sponsorship to play Blade and Soul, and a Gold Suns company wanted him to do a plug, and he was like, "Yeah, fuck it, whatever. Like this is ridiculous, right?" I think he got asked by the company to please remove it, and then he just like removed it. And that's the only case I know directly of a streamer being like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." There's weird cases with WoW where a lot of like
Yeah,
the
like-
top PvPers promote like these arena boost sites and stuff, and nothing seems to happen there. So I think it's like just on a company by company basis, but I don't know. It's kind of awkward in that situation because, like, assuming like all of us after this podcast started like doing it, what do? Do you then just like delete all of the streamers? Like, ha! We've solved the. Oh wait, hang on, we've lost all of the PoE stream. Ah, okay. So, yeah, I don't know,
Maybe
man.
we should ask our expert on being banned on this topic.
Yeah, we
Mr.
should.
Q Dog,
Yeah.
what do you think about this?
You're going down too, Yoji.
I can't. I don't want to like talk too much
Let me check if
anymore.
I'm banned here.
I'm not allowed to make any jokes or anything on stream anymore because like there's this thing in the terms of service that says like promoting or encouraging things that are against like like RMT botting, etc. So like I'm just like, can I even make this joke? Because like how as a streamer, lots of people ask like, hey, how'd you get that? How'd you get X item? How'd you get X currency? And then my response will always be like, check around for some private cameras or whatever, and then be like RMT, and then like now I can't make that joke anymore because I know I'll instantly get reported. And just like a funny, just to give you like an idea of how crazy sometimes people in chat are. Last league, at the end of the league, I already had like 100+ exalts, right? And people were like, "Can you play Resident Evil demo?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll play Resident Evil demo." I played like 5 minutes. I got way too scared and I quit the game. And then someone in game gave me 10 exalts and said, "Can you please play 10 minutes of Resident Evil?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, I can play 10 minutes of Resident Evil," because like he gave me 10 exalts. And it's like go and I play, and then like I get a strike against my account for that because that's
I
considered
get
RMT.
that. Come on.
I mean, it's kind of
I
hard
get
to-
that.
bro.
Yeah,
I
that is.
mean,
I
I
feel
mean,
with you
what?
on the joke thing, but that is it's like it's bullshit. I can kind of see with you on the joke thing, and I had a case of this recently. I've been ending a lot of my streams quite early the last few days because I just haven't been feeling too well and like trying to organize stuff for the show. And people have been joking like, "Oh, he's ending the stream so he can use like get his bot on or something." And I'm like, "Oh no, I don't use bots. I just pay Rise to level my characters for me because I'm too bad at this game." And my entire team's like, "Dude, you can't make that joke. You can't make that joke." And I'm like, "Okay, I don't actually pay Rise to play the game for me, just to clarify." And like, you naturally make like silly jokes. It's like, yeah,
You gotta be careful.
yeah, I get it.
I do that all the time. Like today I got a comms heart. I got a message RMT delivery. I invited the guy and I got a comms heart.
you're already banned, all right? It's just,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
no
just
more,
checked. I'm
please.
not banned yet.
Why would you
I
do
actually
that?
started
People have
PoE
been
to
banned
check.
for literally that exact joke before. Why would you do that?
I
I
feel
do
like
that-
I have to
I
do
do that,
this
like,
now
Fred
too,
was-
just to
like-
be, on the level of other people. Like, what if we're all getting messaged by these RMT sites? Like, what would GGG do if we just all did it at the same time? Like, all streamers would just do it at the same
And
time.
we just say it was a social experiment. If they like question it, we go, "Dude, it was just a
We should
social
do
Maybe if
experiment,
we, like,
Chris."
It's just a prank, bro.
Rules or something?
If we
Sexual.
formed our own like fake RMT company or something, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, what would they? You think GGG would drop like Twitch in general? Like they would remove all the streams from the website and everything? Because now we would like it's kind of set the standard, right? That it is okay to do something.
They'd give us all. They'd have to give us all temp bans at least. Sure. I'd lose some respect for them if they didn't.
I would get Cybrix. I go join Project PT on vanilla
I'm
WoW
so-
server.
I'm so baffled that you're not like perma banned in general.
Shut up, Raiz. Don't give Chris any ideas. Chris, I love you, please. Chris, you're the best.
Reset, please stop. I don't know. Was someone actually banned for that? I don't even know. Like for
The
RMT
comms
jokes.
joke, like the RMT delivery. Yeah. Someone was literally banned for that, and they
I
got it
guess
appealed.
you're trying to get me banned then.
Yeah, the RMT
Uh,
delivery guy.
I mean, apparently Unhost got banned for that, right? That after a long investigation, they released the information that apparently he was banned for the accident of somebody with the character name RMT delivery for Unhost actually gave him items, and they thought that it was real RMT and they banned him.
Yes. Yeah, that was the one.
So
We
what
can't
you're
blame
saying
them,
is
right?
This
that
definitely is kind of the same joke.
anyone who wants
yeah.
to get us banned
Yeah, but-
just needs to rename all of their characters like streamer RMT service, because at some point we're gonna have to like buy something off them.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it just if you're like a top trader or something, you just like have like, your trading account be like streamer RMT service, then trade with people all the time.
So
We'll
like
get all-
if everyone if all the softcore players just buy like all the Uber sets and Shaper keys and just say like Mathel's RMT service, because at some point he's going to have to buy keys. Boom. Just like target one at a time. Taki, he's shit at the game. He needs to buy $1 in Gold Room every 3 minutes. Level his new character. He keeps dying. We'll buy all of them and do Taki RMT service. It works. I don't know.
I mean, he did get unbanned, so I guess we're fine.
I mean, I guess they have to do that, right? For like first, because I guess according to the terms of service, it is breaking like the letter of the law, so to speak. And then, but beyond that, it's kind of like it's just part of their company growing. They don't have the support to investigate these cases beyond like reasonable doubt anymore, because they have right now they're backed up like 1,000 tickets in their queue. So when all these reports come in like, hey, X streamer is doing Y thing that's technically against TOS, they have to take that at face value. They see like one thing of evidence like out of context, and then they're right in banning it, because technically maybe it's like a bannable offense, but that's why there's the appeal process.
The biggest problem in your case, I think, because it was like, what prevents other people from saying, I didn't know, or this was a joke, when they do the same thing, right? And even though I know you did it because, you didn't know, some people might abuse it.
Yeah, that's true.
I thought you were gonna get permit. Like they were treating people really harshly in the past for that. Like I always remember in the past they were trying to get rid of cross-league trading so much. They were always very much against having an advantage in a new league from a previous league. That's also why when we were talking earlier about something, I never think that they would have done it. What was it? Talked about something earlier.
The league stun exploit?
Yeah.
Weird stuff.
I know.
Well,
I feel like that was the sound of Rise's brain just turning off mid-sentence then. I'm looking at...
A little bit. No, there is something. I can't remember.
Quick, someone give him a Uber.
With the Scion... Oh, the trials. The trials. There you go. The trials.
Oh, the trials, yeah.
I think they would rather keep something as fucking mundane as the trials than like actually make people think that they've got an advantage over somebody else.
Right. Yeah, but honestly, if I get banned from PoE now, I just buy like some MTXs and make a new account to look like I'm losing much. So who cares? Unless I'm get like Cybrix perma forever banned.
Yeah.
Then there's nothing I can do, obviously. But
oh my god, dude! Really? I would freak out losing all my MTXs. Like I didn't even spend that much on my account. I would flip.
Well, it's not really worth that much value though, because there's a lot of MTX where you don't care about.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's like the Gargoyle, Harbinger of Lunaris, Tiger Pets are cool, and then like maybe 1 or 2 armor sets. So like the value of it, even though I've spent like quite a bit of money, if I were to lose that, and like I was like, if it comes down and I am actually permaban, then it's like, well, shit, I'll make a new account and like whatever, because you can't think of like the money you spent as like actually being, is it worth like, I spent like $3,000 at least, but there's only a few things I'm attached to, so it's not a big deal.
For the case of stuff you can't get anymore, like if I lost my old Pilgrim hat and stuff, that would be like the biggest kick to me. I just be like, dude, that would really hurt. I love that hat. And they still need to fix the hat, by the way. Just not let that one slide. They still need to fix it for duelists. But anyway, before I talk about hats for like an hour and a half, is there any other like really pressing topics, or should we just wrap things up?
We're good. It's a good episode. Chris, I love you.
Please don't ban Yoji.
Please don't ban anyone from this
don't
podcast.
ban Yoji.
Please no ban Reno, thanks.